Imagine starting with a 2-minute warning in a football contest. Imagine beginning with a final round of a boxing match, or only running the last 50 miles of a 500-mile race. That's what we have today, a 20-lap, 50-mile shootout, as CBS Sports presents live coverage of the 17th annual Busch Clash. Hello, everyone. Ken Squire. Welcome to Daytona, where today an all-star field of auto racing's fastest compete. Starting today in row number 1 on the pole, car 7, the Ford Thunderbird of the 92 Busch Clash winner, Jeff Bodine of Chemung, New York. Beside him will be car 3, the new Chevrolet Monte Carlo, winner of 5 of the 8 clashes he's competed in, Dale Earnhardt, ready to work. Row 2, Ted Musgrave, the number 16 Jack Roush Ford, piloted by the Franklin, Wisconsin speedster. Starting beside Musgrave, with new colors for Berwick, Pennsylvania's Jimmy Spencer, back with Travis Carter, 2 wins last season. The Rainbow Warrior will be starting in 5th. A year ago at 22, he swept by Earnhardt and Urban to claim his first Clash as a rookie, Jeff Gordon. Number 75 is the Butch Mock Ford, Todd Bodine, one of 6 drivers making their Clash debut. A new look for Junior Johnson's number 27 T-Bird, Loy Allen, the rookie who sat on the pole last year at the controls. The number 40 is the Brooks Savettis Pontiac, only Pontiac in the field from Mattatuck, New York. Greg Sachs will be at the controls. In row 5, last year's Daytona 500 champion, earned his 3rd invitation here from Columbia, Tennessee, Sterling Marlin. Today officially unveils the new Elliott Racing Team. Number 94 will carry the 87 Clash winner from Dawsonville, Georgia, Bill Elliott. The number 31 Chevrolet features another first-time Clash starter, sophomore sensation from South Boston, Virginia. Ward Burton is there. Sporting new colors, number 1 Rick Mast took the pole at the inaugural Indianapolis Brickyard 400. In his familiar colors, the number 10 Ford is Ricky Rudd, owner and driver, making his 10th start in the Clash. Mark Martin in the number 6 finished 2nd in 91 to Earnhardt with the Jack Roush car. Then 15th is the number 2. It's Rusty Wallace there, 10th start. And rounding out the field, David Green in car number 95. The Grand National champion is a new face and a new place in this field, a Grand National starter, ready to go in the Busch Clash of 95. The weather, gray and damp. It has rained most of the morning, but it's cleared in the past half hour. They still have trucks, vehicles on the track trying to get it dry and race ready for this field of 16 starters, which equals the record number of the starting field back in 1983. Let's get the rules, the format for the event. Here's Mike Joy.
Thanks, Ken. It's a little raw down here, but it is dry. The rules are as simple as the race is short. To get in this field, you had to win a pole position in 1994, plus 1 wild card driver, and the pole winningest driver from the Busch Series, that's David Green. They'll wave the green flag and race just 10 laps. Caution laps do not count. Then a mandatory caution flag at 10 laps. The drivers will come to pit lane and perform any service they normally would in a Winston Cup race. But then's the kicker. They will invert the field. The 10th lap leader goes all the way to the back. They'll drop the flag again and run 10 more laps, and the winner goes to victory lane. This race has been run in as little as 15 minutes and 10 seconds, so don't go away. We'll be back live with the start of the Busch Clash on CBS after this.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Stern. This is the new cookbook I've prepared with the Heart and Stroke Foundation, Simply Heart Smart Cooking. It has over 200 recipes to help you eat better in every way, with lots of straight talk about nutrition and menu planning. It's the latest and best in the Foundation's cookbook library. Simply Heart Smart Cooking will help your family stay heart healthy, and it's available from your local Heart and Stroke Foundation office or call 1-800-360-1557.
Kung Fu, The Legend continues, Saturday at 6 on Channel 11.
Dinner and tournament. the show that has become a legend. Call 260-1234.
When you can't get relief fast enough, there's a pain reliever with the strength to relieve even your worst pain fast. It's aspirin. The wonders of aspirin continue.
Brilliant, beautiful, unique. The Ashley Designer Jewelry Collection. Great value, stunning jewelry. See for yourself.
It's the art sale Toronto's been waiting for. Don't miss it. Buy one, get one free. Yes, Toronto, it's the art liquidation sale of the year. Buy one original oil painting, get a second painting absolutely free. Seeing is believing. Thousands of original oil paintings must be sold. Prices start at $10. Buy one, get one free, only at our one gigantic location. We are Canadian Art Wholesalers in Mississauga, 5170 Dixie Road, 1 mile south of the 401.
The Niagara Falls Tour.
Part of Niagara for 15 years.
Campaign the Niagara Police for a job.
The CHCH Niagara Newsroom in St. Catharines.
At this vineyard in Niagara on the Lake, there's a crew change every 12 hours.
We try to go and to pick the grapes as soon as we can.
Bureau Chief Loran Sabarin stays in touch with Niagara.
This man employed my daughter. He knows it, I know it, and God knows it.
Channel 11, your news channel in Niagara, Hamilton, and Holton.
Miles in length is coming up here, and it looks like we're not too far from the start, but there will be a slight delay before we get to the start of this $340,000 17th annual Busch Clash. A dash for cash and glory, Ned Jarrett. That's what it gets down to here.
That's really what it gets down to, Ken. There are no points involved in this race, but it's a very important race for the teams and the drivers that are in it, because all of them will be hoping to be in the Daytona 500 a week from today, and they can get a lot of experience out there with other cars on the racetrack, particularly those that are running Chevrolets this year. They have a brand new Monte Carlo. Don't know what it's going to do in traffic. This will be a good learning experience, plus the fact there are 6 drivers in this field today who are rookies in the Busch Clash. Now, you would think normally this would not be a good race for a rookie, but those drivers that are there today can take part in the fact that Jeff Gordon did win it last year as a rookie, so should be interesting.
Now, they drew for positions. That's the way they get the format started here in this race. Had a drawing a couple of days ago. One guy that has won it back in '81, has 11 starts, passed 7 cars, which is a record in the lead lap, was not in the drawing this time. We consider him one of our best experts. Darrell Waltrip, nice to have you along.
I can't help but notice, you're talking about rookies, I couldn't help but notice all the rookies standing around kind of smiling. Da-da-da-da-da. Looks like going to have a fun day. The veterans are standing around with that scowl on their face like, you boys don't know what you're in for. So it's a fun race to some degree. Some guys take it more serious than others. But it's neat that the rookies are in here, and they have had some time on the racetrack. These cars have been on the track since Thursday, running together, practicing, drafting each other. So I think it's going to be a better race than we think it's going to be.
Now, what are the new changes going to mean to this race that they put in effect?
Well, for one thing, as Ned alluded to, is the Monte Carlo. There's so many questions about the Monte Carlo. In the beginning, we thought it wasn't going to be a very good qualifying car. It was going to be a good race car. And, of course, Earnhardt's on the outside pole, and there's several Chevrolets in the top 10. I'm curious to see how the Chevrolets are going to run, obviously. And then there's some guys that are not in the race that probably should have been. Some guys got here because of tires. You know, last year they qualified on Hoosier tires. And
sounds like an excuse to me.
Well, that's my expert opinion.
Well, I'll tell you how good that Chevrolet Monte Carlo is running. It only missed the pole for next week's Great American Race by 11 one-thousandths of a second. And we'll get back to more on that story a bit later. This field could have been 19 strong. Harry Gant, however, has retired. Chuck Bound is on the mend after that horrible crash at Pocono. Good news about him. And as to the other driver who might have been in this field, he's standing by with David Hobbs right now.
And that driver is Ernie Irwin, who had 5 pole positions last year. Ernie, what sort of strategy can you realistically take in this 20-lap race where they shuffle the pack at the halfway point anyway and you go to the back of the field? Is there a strategy?
Well, there's a lot of strategies. Everybody will be having strategies. But when the green flag drops, all the strategies go to the wayside. And, you know, then you're going to have to figure out what your car's doing. And everybody wants to win the first one, and then they have to go to the back on the second one. But that's what makes the race exciting.
6 of the 16 drivers in today's race are rookies. How would you feel if you were out there with those rookies?
You know, all those guys are rookies on Winston Cup, but the thing is they're really not rookies in racing. So, you know, I'd feel good with all of them.
Of course, the question that's on absolutely everybody's lips is when are we going to see Ernie Irvan behind the wheel of one of these Winston Cup cars again?
Well, I don't know exactly, but, you know, the doctors are telling me that they really feel like, you know, my eyes healed up a lot, and they really feel like in, you know, a couple, 3 months that the double vision may go away, and hopefully I'll be racing after that.
Hopefully by mid-season. Just one more question. How important is it to a driver in speed weeks to win this Busch Clash coming up to the 500 next week?
Well, it doesn't have any kind of bearing on for the 500, but it's the first race all year. Sponsors are all here. Everybody's here. They've all had they worked all year to get a pole, and winning the Busch Clash is something very special. I haven't actually got to do it. I won a segment and just never actually won the Busch Clash. And me and Earnhardt had a heck of a race going last year, and then all of a sudden Jeff Gordon come up and ended up beating us both. So we had a good race, but it would be something special for everybody.
Well, let's hope we can see you in the winner's circle here in 1996. And now down to Mike Joy with Rusty Wallace.
Well, Rusty's doing a little last-second interior decorating here inside his office. Rusty, in 91, Earnhardt came from last to first to win the Clash. Can it be done again?
Well, it can sure be done. I'm just going to see how this thing's running. It's drafted really good last night in practice. It handled great. So I need a car behind me. That'll really help me. So we'll see what happens. We'll just start to use this first half to get ready for the second. But if she's going to go to the front right now, I'm going to go to the front. There ain't going to be no sandbagging going on here.
Well, now they invert the field for the second half, so it's a disincentive to get to the front.
Well, yeah, if you want to approach racing that way, but, you know, I'd hate to win this thing by default.
And I think everybody here feels the same way.
But then again, I think I'd like to have the cash, too.
That'd be nice. Now, in this sub-battle of beer brands, across the way is David Green, the Busch Series champion. It's his first ever time running with the Winston Cup cars. He said this morning he feels like he's swimming in shark-infested waters with a chicken leg around his neck.
Getting ready for the start, and we're not too far away. They're just about to bring the folks out of the infield here in the tri-oval area, and we'll be down to start the Busch Clash for 1995 here at the Daytona International Speedway.
It's the John Bear Pontiac Buick Cadillac Hat-Trick Sales Event. Shoot for the big one. Now is the time to get 8.9% financing for a limited time on new and used vehicles. Or you pay no interest. You make no payments till May. Plus, all vehicles are low price. Our lowest prices of the season displayed on every windshield. It's the Hat-Trick Sales Event. Only at the deal makers, only at John Bear in Hamilton.
Let me show you the amazing new sorting bank. I pour the coins into the sorting bank, give it a shake, and presto, all the coins are sorted into their 5 individual denominations. There's all your loonies, quarters, nickels, pennies, and dimes. I'd like you to see that again. Dump coins into the sorting bank, give it a shake, and almost instantly the coins are sorted. That's how quick and easy it is. Every home can use one, and businesses too. The sorting bank is precision crafted and beautifully designed. Buy one for yourself or for a friend. It makes a great gift. The sorting bank is only $19.95. For delivery to your home or business, just pick up the phone and call 1-800-335-3336.
Back at the Daytona International Speedway, and we're not too far from a start. There was a large throng gathered to be down here for the introduction of drivers in the tri-oval area, and they are just evacuating from there right now, and that'll take another 3 or 4 minutes. And here you see Jeff Gordon going over to take a look at that car number 24 before he settles down and tries to replicate what he did a year ago when he blew by the field. With an inverted field to start the second half of the Busch Clash, the question always remains, how do you come from the back of the pack to win?
I don't know if you can have any strategy if you're starting that far back. Just stand on the gas. Somebody gets in your way, knock them out of the way, because you won't have time to pass that many cars in only 10 laps.
First thing you got to do, you got to pass them in a hurry. 10 laps is not very long at Daytona. Just I think tell yourself, don't crack the throttle.
It's hard. It can be done. I guess Earnhardt done it one year. You just have to catch a good seam with a couple cars racing, and you hope it's a gap where you can dive in and just wiggle through them.
I'd rather maybe finish last in the first one, start first in the last one, and win that, because the trophy is what counts. To be the winner of the Busch Clash is what you're going to remember, not the guy that wins the first segment.
Now, there's a short tracker philosophy, Waltrip. Now, what would you do in the situation like this? And, you know, we're not going to see those runs where they talk about winning from the pole here. It's a little tricky coming out of the back, although Earnhardt's done it. What's the strategy?
What I would do, Ken, is I'd take advantage of what I had going for me right now. Like with Dale Earnhardt, he's going to start up here in the front. He's going to win that first segment. Then the second half, he's going to go to the back, and he's going to keep throwing the thing in the end zone and hope somebody catches it. That's what he's going to do.
Hail Mary racing here today, folks, and we get set to go. Here's David Hobbs standing by with one of those guys that he intends to stop that Hail Mary. Running defense in that case with a very wide rear view mirror would be Jeff Bodine.
Jeff Bodine, you're on the pole for this 20-lap dash. Would you rather be here or at the back for the start?
Well, here's good. I get a lot of publicity out of it. I might end up at the back in 10 laps. I don't know. We're running pretty good, but, you know, we're all concerned about where we're going to start the second segment. Obviously, that's the one that wins the Busch Clash. So we'll see how things start out, see how good this car is, and see where we're going to start in that second race.
Great. Good luck. Down to Mike Joy with last year's winner, Jeff Gordon.
The defending champion smoked them all in yesterday's practice. You caught a group of cars drafting, took off from them, and they couldn't catch you. What have you got in here?
Well, you know, I can't do it by myself. So we got a good car. It's probably the best car I've had in Daytona in a while. And so we're just going to try to make the best of it. But we got to have some help to get to the front, beat some of these guys that are out here.
But then, can any one car leave this pack?
I don't think anybody can leave it, but I think once you get out front, it's going to be really hard to pass. It's going to take about 4 or 5 cars pushing you to get by one car. So the object here is to get out front.
That's the object on everybody's mind. Ken?
There are always problems here, Mike. Problems like trying to get a ticket to the 500. Problems like trying to get your car set up. Problems like locking your keys in your car in the official pace car for the start of the Busch Clash. There it is. There it still was.
That's almost as bad as a couple of years ago when a guy stole the pace car at Talladega and made a couple of laps around it.
They're still waiting for him to get out. We'll be back for the start of the 1995 Busch Clash from the Daytona International Speedway in a moment.
Welcome to Canada's #1 center for minivan choice and value. Your Ford and Mercury dealers, home to Windstar, Villager, and Aerostar. Your complete minivan center. Get 95 Aerotrack with electronic all-wheel drive at low 6.9% financing or pay just $3.99 a month. And get 2 additional captain's chairs at no extra charge. Plus, powerful 4-liter V6, air, and more interior room than Grand Caravan or Voyager. Get the most choice and the best value only at your Ford and Mercury dealers. Your complete minivan center.
For 15 years, Niagara has looked to Channel 11 for news.
To spend $2 million when there are so many other things we need.
A block away, politicians may be prospecting for votes. The Seaway's moving more ships carrying imported steel slabs.
Niagara Bureau Chief Loran Sabarin in Niagara's only television newsroom.
And the St. Catharines Committee deserve a lot of credit for the fight back.
Channel 11, your news channel in Niagara, Hamilton, and Halton.
You're sitting alongside Jeff Bodine, who will start on the pole in this first 10-lap sprint. He'll kick it up about that second, third lap to over 190 miles per hour and try to hold off Earnhardt on the outside and 14 other starters. Here's Mike.
The man in black, Dale Earnhardt's talking to his car owner, Richard Childers, checking out his two-way radio communication. Let me sneak in around the net here for just a second. How about it, champ? Starting on the front row. Good starting spot. How about finishing spot today?
Well, you know, this is really you usually want to start up front, but you invert this thing, you ain't sure what's going to go on that last 10. I'd sort of like to be further to the back maybe, but Richard Childers and I talked about it. We decided to go for it. You know, Jared picked us to win. He's up there doing the pit stuff, and we got old good-looking Walter up there in the tower with his suit on, and he's looking good. You know, maybe they can coach me a little bit, tell me which way to go here. We'll be all right.
Well, I'll give you our frequency, but nobody in this crowd's going to race to the rear, are they?
I don't think so. I think you're going to see that 4 and 24 and the 6 car at least coming on up here, and I'm definitely going to try to drag them around here the first 10, see if we can do it again, come from the back.
You say drag them around. Dale, can anybody get away from this pack?
I don't think so. Where everybody gets in line, I think it's going to be a race for, you know, staying in line. Getting a racing side by side, the cars can get away from them in front, I think, at this point. I hope it's not the 4 and the 24, and I'm back there side by side with somebody, because they definitely can get away from it.
Okay, good luck, Dale. Let's go to David Hobbs.
Jimmy Spencer, he's won the last 2 restrictor plate races. How about this one, Jimmy?
I don't know. You know, we've been struggling here the last couple of days here, and we didn't qualify as well as we wanted to. Same car. We're going to be hard-pressed to beat the Chevrolets today, but we're not quitting at all.
Are you glad you're behind Dale Earnhardt at the start today? I mean, are you happy with the start position?
I'm very happy. You know, I believe that's the car to beat, and the 24 and the 4 car is real strong. And, you know, I think we're going to have to get in there, and the 4 teams are going to have to work together, just like the Chevrolet teams are. We've got to try to keep them Chevrolet separated. It's definitely, without a doubt, a Chevrolet-Ford battle today.
It's a big field, and a lot of them are rookies. Are you worried about that at all?
I'm a rookie myself, you know, and you didn't get here because of inexperience. You're a good race car driver, and you got in this field because you earned it. And everybody knows what we can do with one another. And, you know, you're naturally going to push each other to the limit today. There's a lot of prestige going into this race, and Anheuser-Busch and the fans want to see a great race, so we're going to try and give them one.
Well, good luck in this afternoon's race. Ken?
So there's Jimmy Spencer settling down for his start this afternoon. There you see the field gathered 16 strong for this start, and every one of them determined to win $25,000 and relegate themselves to the back for the second 10 laps and go for $45,000. Those are racers out there, every single one. Earnhardt, he's done it twice, come from the rear to win that second 10-lap segment. Did it in 91, did it in 93. There's that window net on that car, and Darrell, tell us about that.
Well, they have some new window nets that the weaving is much tighter than we've had in the past. They took a window net away from a couple of teams because it was too tight. I see Dale has used the rules to his advantage, and that is the support that holds the window net in place, and they've just lengthened that out, I'm sure, in the interest of safety.
Well, it didn't help him enough. There's another one from, looks a little more like what we're used to.
Yeah,
there.
this is standard operating procedure here, and as I said, you know, everybody has an interpretation of the rules, and that's just one of them.
They were talking about trying to get away from this field, and could they do it? It's only happened once, and that was back in the initial year when Buddy Baker in that car just lapped the field, and you went with him.
Yeah.
You two guys blew everybody off but the third-place car. That's the only time it's ever happened.
Yeah, we started, I started third, Buddy started on pole, and we took off, and we almost lapped the entire field in that particular race, and it wasn't too long after that they came up with this new format where they would run 10 and invert them and put the fast guys in the back.
Plus the fact back then, Darrell, you didn't get any practice with those race cars in traffic at all.
No, we would qualify, and then as soon as qualifying was over, we'd line the cars up and go race. These cars, I'm sure every car in this race is a special car just for the Busch Clash. This is not the same car that these guys are going to run in the Daytona 500. These are throwaway race cars, if you will. That's what we always think about when we come down here. We're going to take a car, we're going to run it in the Busch Clash, and if it makes it, great. If it doesn't, well, we got our Daytona 500 car down there on the trailer.
And I guess they would use it maybe as a backup car in case they needed it for the Daytona 500.
Yeah, this is your backup car.
Here's Mike Joy.
Ricky Rudd had a grand year of success in 94. His first year as a driver-owner, brings his own Ford here to the Busch Clash. Well, you're back here in the Bob Uecker seats, kind of. It's not the last row, but you can sure see it in your mirror. What's your strategy for these first 10 laps, Ricky?
Well, Mike, we're going to try to jump out here and see if we can't move forward, but if not, you know, the real Busch Clash winner is decided in the second segment, so the real race might be to who can finish last in the first race. That might be what the real race comes down to.
Now, you talked about these window nets. You see, this is kind of stiff, but not too stiff. And to kind of feel this window opening in here, you got a little bit of padding and you got a vent, and but there's still room for the driver to climb in. Here's David Hobbs.
Well, I'm with Bill Elliott, who won the fastest ever of these Busch Clashes at 197 miles an hour, and you also went on to win the 500 that year. Do you feel the same thing in your bones today, Bill?
I don't think we'll see 197 out of the cars today, but, you know, we're hoping to get a good solid run here today, kind of sort out what we've got, and really work toward building toward the 500. And we got some new guys in key places and just working the people out.
This is your first race as an owner. How are you feeling about that?
Well, everything's gone well to this point. I wish we'd qualified a little better yesterday for the 500, but you know, we're going in the right direction. We've not had any real problems, and we're just sorting a lot of things out.
Of course, qualifying for this race is done by drawing for position. Are you happy with the position you're in at the start of this 20-lap dash?
I don't think it's really going to matter, you know, because we're going to invert after 10 laps, and this will kind of see how you can kind of sort things out for at least the first 10 laps.
Big change in the weather from yesterday. Is that going to change the car today much?
Probably not a lot.
Well, there you have it from Bill Elliott, the winner of the fastest ever Busch Clash at 197 miles an hour. Back to you, Ken.
Bill Elliott, very excited about being back with the family and back in Dawsonville, Georgia. There you see they continue with that jet engine to dry off the track up here in the Turn 4 area of this 2.5-mile facility.
Bill mentioned he wasn't necessarily pleased with his qualifying speed yesterday for the Daytona 500. He wound up 20th, which really isn't that bad. Qualifying was very close yesterday, and I guess we'll talk about that as we go on here today. Of course, only the two front starting positions have been determined at this point.
There's the roof cam that is aboard David Green's car, which has an overview of the rest of the field. Looks up from the rear end there.
David Green, he didn't even win a pole in Winston Cup racing.
But he won 9 in Grand National.
But he won 9 in the other series, which is sponsored by Busch, and it got him an invitation into this race.
First time they've allowed the Grand National in. Orders have been given, and they fire them up. This is it. The start of Speed Weeks 95 here at Daytona. Next Sunday, the great American race will come rolling down a little afternoon. We hope you'll be here with CBS, and this is such a wonderful way to get the week started with this short driving race with so much at stake for these 16. Stay with us for the Busch Clash.
Strangers in the night. My name's Ben Guide. I host and produce comedy at Club 54. You can see it tonight right here on Channel 11, 11:30.
Ben, what are you doing?
I'm dancing with my date.
Well, the department store called. They want her back.
Yeah, well, at least she doesn't eat much, huh?
It all comes together at the Auto Show. Drive the 4x4 demonstration test track. Challenge the Formula One racing ride of a lifetime. Win one of 10 incredible new cars. Boldly go to the Auto Show with Bell Mobility. Every day, the first 5,000 qualified visitors get free tickets to Crazy for You, Tommy, or the Bell Canadian Open. It's all compliments of Bell Mobility when you buy the exciting Liberty cellular phone.
It's the art sale Toronto's been waiting for. Don't miss it. Buy one, get one free. Yes, Toronto, it's the art liquidation sale of the year. Buy one original oil painting, get a second painting absolutely free. Seeing is believing. Thousands of original oil paintings must be sold. Prices start at $10. Buy one, get one free. Only at our one gigantic location. We are Canadian Art Wholesalers in Mississauga, 5170 Dixie Road, 1 mile south of the 401.
If you're happy and you know it, and your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it.
A school is plagued with terror, and the small-town bands together to save the children. Monday at 9, here on Channel 11.
Less than a minute, and they'll begin to roll down pit road. They've had plenty of time to cool their heels down here, so they're giving the motors plenty of time to get some heat in before we begin the 1995 Busch Clash. And now the pace cars are pulling away. 2 Pontiacs down pit road, and behind them come Bodine and Earnhardt. The rest of the field moving away nicely, and we're getting set to go racing here at Daytona. 31-degree banking, 18 degrees in the tri-oval, and it's always a thrill when they're getting set to go for the first time wheel-to-wheel Winston Cup racing here at Daytona.
The pit road's not real dry, Ken, but it's not going to make a lot of difference because they're not going to use the pit road except under that intermission. The thing that they might ought to have done, though, is cleaned up some of these areas down here off of turn 4 and off of turn 2 back there, because that might get used during this race.
Gone 3 years without a caution thrown on this race. We've had some pretty exciting incidents in the past, Ned.
Yes, we really have. I remember Ricky Rudd tumbling off of turn 4 up there a number of years ago, and had a pretty good melee here on the front straightaway one time going into turn 1. So, never know.
Bodine, Brett Bodine, Bobby Allison up here out of turn 4. Okay, let's take a look at the starting grid if you're just joining us. We're live. We're at the Daytona International Speedway, and this is the Busch Clash, 17th annual. See the field down that back straightaway, and notice all this area that's been paved as you look at Bodine and Earnhardt in the front row. Then just as you get to the chicane area for the sports car race where they ran the Rolex 24 the other day, the grass is back there, but they've made a major change in that back straightaway. We'll be addressing that next week for sure in depth about the changes they've made around this track. There you see Allen and Sachs back there in row number 4. They'll take, what, 2 laps before they turn them loose today?
Right, yeah. They get 1 to go this next time by. I want to say about David Green, I didn't in any way mean that he didn't deserve to be in this race. He's a homeboy, and his daddy will be all over me if I don't. He deserves to be in this race. I hope he wins it.
Comes from Owensboro, Kentucky.
That's right. There's a bunch of us guys from Owensboro, Kentucky.
How does it make you feel to see a kid from Owensboro, Kentucky, who was riding a tricycle when you were driving at Owensboro? What was the name of that? That's the Kentucky International.
No. It was Whitesville. Whitesville, and it makes me feel old.
Okay, a race analysis for you folks as we settle down here about a lap away. 25 miles. All it is, 10 laps in this first segment. Then they'll reverse the field. Ricky Rudd looked like he was pondering maybe waiting for that second half of the race.
He was the first one that was real honest.
Real honest, yeah.
That's what I say. They're going to drop the green flag. You're going to run 2 or 3 laps here, and as soon as you see what you can do, you can't do any good, you're going to slow down. And as he said, it'll be a real race for last.
Well, you won't see that among those guys in the front row. Certainly not Spencer.
But you can't get lapped now. If you get lapped, then then you got to go to back to the rear again. So you got to stay on the lead lap.
You got to stay in the draft basically to do that too.
Yeah. So your strategy could backfire on you if you're not real careful.
Well, there you see the 3 that have won, and only 3 from the pole. And as we say, now with this little extra element of spinning that field around at halfway, inverting the field, it's pretty hard to come along and take it from the pole. Earnhardt, of course, has gone to the rear after winning the first segment and come back to the top. See what Bodine can do to contain him. There's something if he could pull that off.
He could do it too, Ken, because starting back in the back is not as bad as it seems. When they come off of turn 2, they get so spread out down the back straightaway that the guy in the back gets an ultra draft. He gets a super draft, and he can go by a bunch of race cars.
Going by the Tiny Lund Grandstand, which they keep adding to in the back straightaway. We understand that is just about sold out for next week. Here we are approaching turn 3, critical area, fastest point on the track. They'll get in here in that draft a little over 193 miles an hour. Busch Clash coming live. There's Bodine and Earnhardt ready to square off in the front row. Earnhardt's up in the front row with a different adversary, but one he knows well on the inside for the Daytona 500 next Sunday. What a story we have there. 11 1/1000ths of a second separating the 1993 winner, Dale Jarrett, from Dale Earnhardt, as they'll come down for the start next Sunday afternoon here on CBS. Pace car ready to come in. We're ready to go racing for 1995. Jeff Bodine has an onboard camera. Ricky Rudd, Greg Sachs, and David Green.
I think Earnhardt will probably try to get the jump here on the start.
And what makes you think that? That's his style, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
He knows this race well enough to know that even if he started early, they wouldn't probably break him in.
Sterling Marlin jumps out of line. He comes up trying to move alongside Ricky Rudd. It'll take a couple of laps to get to full speed. Back straightaway, 3 wide out of 2.
Yeah, look at Jeff Gordon on the tail of Ted Musgrave trying to push him on by Bodine on the outside. Those that are behind Bodine are at the disadvantage right now.
Yeah, I expect that Gordon will hook up with Earnhardt and they will be long gone.
Musgrave stays in it. The Jack Roush car.
Whoa, we got trouble.
Into the wall. Hard hit on Greg Sachs, car number 40. Caution coming out, front end gone.
He and Mark Martin tangled, and Mark is spinning around on further down the track. Wow.
Caution out.
He did hit the wall hard, but fortunately he's apparently okay. He's already unbuckled his safety net. That's one of the things they're told in the drivers' meeting. If you're okay, unbuckle that safety net so the safety crew will know that, and then if there are other drivers involved in the accident, then they could go to them.
What started that is a car got down on the apron going into 3 over there. They're about 3 wide, and I'm not sure who it was. It's either Ricky Rudd or Loy Allen. And that got a little crowded going into turn 3 over there and sent cars into each other.
Greg Sachs walking away.
His first ride in this car.
Richard Brooks, Felix Sabetta's car, and there's the number 6 Mark Martin right behind the wall, and you can see the rear fender bent up on that.
I really felt Mark had a chance to run with Earnhardt, And Gordon, he looked good in practice, and I thought he might have had a chance to run with him.
Replays coming up, folks. Wide angle.
Actually,
looked like Loy Allen got a piece of Sachs's car and sent him up, and he got into Mark Martin.
Actually, it looked like, but there was a car down on the apron. If we could look at that again, going into 3, he gets down on the apron and forces those cars into each other. I think it may have been Mark, actually. Here he is, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Mark. Yeah, that's Mark.
Mark went up and hit Sachs.
Yeah, he got down on the apron, he came up and hit Sachs, and that drove Sachs into the wall, and then sort of chain reaction, I guess. Sachs took a hard lick.
From inside of Greg Sachs' car, watch what happens here.
Like that, the hit is one thing, but then once you realize you're okay, you draw up and hope no one else hits you. That's what worries you from that point on.
Loy Allen's number 27, the Junior Johnson car, on pit road.
First time he got by down on the inside.
I think he just brushed his right front fender just a little bit up against somebody. The crew standing in the way, I think, of what damage he may have suffered.
Go to the telestrator here.
Okay, let's take a look at what did happen as they went into the turn. We're just okay. Stop it right there. Right there is where Mark Martin, he was down on the inside, and he goes up and hits Greg Sachs. We'll move it on forward, and you can see what happens then after they move. See, he hits the front end, sends Sachs into the wall, and then Martin loses control on out in front of him, spins around, and he doesn't get into the wall too hard.
Short day for a former winner of the Daytona 400. Another view.
Yeah, Mark just, I'm sure he thought he had plenty of room to get in there, and he was just down on the apron. When you get those left wheels down the apron like that, the car automatically comes back up on the surface, up on the banking, a lot quicker than you anticipate.
He was under the 27 car going into that turn, under Loy Allen, and
may have brushed him
right
too.
Up.
Yeah, that's how he got the damage, I think, on his car.
So we're under caution, and these laps are not counting in this Busch Clash. One lap, and we'll be back under green another time. Hard hit for Greg Sachs. We'll try to get a word with him for you in a moment. As we come back up on a restart, it will be Earnhardt in first, Musgrave second, Jeff Gordon will be in third, Sterling Marlin will be in fourth, Jeff Bodine in fifth, Elliott sixth, Todd Bodine seventh, Jimmy Spencer in eighth, Rusty Wallace looks to be ninth, and Rick Mast will round out the top 10. Ricky Rudd back there in 11th, and David Green's pulled up from 16th into 12th. Sachs and Martin both behind the wall.
These caution laps don't count, by the way, so I guess we're still, basically, we got one lap in the book.
One of the guys on the move is certainly a Sterling Marlin. He's come from 9th up to 4th position. Here's Mike Joy.
Ken Schrader's a two-time winner of the Clash. You saw that in-car replay and said what?
I've been there, done that.
Ooh, and it's not a good feeling.
Before. No, Greg took a heck of a hit there. Glad to see he's okay.
This is a tough race because everybody needs to get in the front in a hurry because you may not get a second chance.
Well, you need to get there quick, but, you know, a lot of stuff happens in the front. You need to be lucky if you can get through it sometimes. But when they invert it, it's a whole other deal in the second half.
Kenny's not just a spectator. He owns the car David Green is driving in the Clash and has a real keen interest in what happens here. Ken, let's show you this crash again. Give us your idea what happened here.
It's hard to see the way it is, but it looks like maybe Mark was awful low. Maybe he had part of the car in the apron and had to get back up, and Greg was at his right rear quarter panel and turned both of them. Yeah, Mark was out of room down there.
The banking's flat, or 31 degrees. The apron is flat. How tough is that transition if you catch one wheel down there?
That's about how you usually make it. That's a normal transition.
And a tough break for those two drivers. Ken?
Getting ready for a start, and Loy Allen's number 27 is back on pit road.
And Ken, the rules are, you see them, there's two abreast. That's the rules in the Busch Clash. On restarts, they come up two abreast as opposed to single file in normal Winston Cup races.
Which
pace
has really
partner.
set this thing up now for, here's Earnhardt and Gordon, and I think they're really going to go now, and Sterling's going to drop right down there with
Well, look at Sterling pulling out already, trying to find a hole on the outside as they come down, and he gets trapped. Musgrave didn't come up that quickly, and Marlin trying to find a way out of that box.
And he still hasn't found her. He went high, he went low, and he just couldn't find a way.
Now he's there. Comes around Bodine. Here comes Jeff right back after him. Out of two.
With Ted Musgrave now. He's been able to hang right there in the other Jack Roush car. He's been hanging right there with Earnhardt and Gordon, and he looks like he's racing.
Earnhardt, who led the opening lap, first time he's ever done that in a Busch Clash, stays out in front. Here's Jeff Gordon in second. Franklin, Wisconsin's Musgrave maintaining third.
And these cars running side by side for fourth are beginning to lose a little bit of distance. That happens on these restrictor plate tracks. If you run side by side, those running single file are going to be able to pull away a little bit if you aren't careful.
Yeah, they don't do it immediately, Ned, but they get the momentum going, and they will ease on away from the other guys if they don't do something here pretty quick. But do something, there's nothing you can really do. You can't hold your hand up and say, hey, I want to get over there for a little while, please.
Ricky Rudd in traffic. Jimmy Spencer up there on the right, just in front. Rusty Wallace.
I'm sure that Sterling Marlin right now is probably jumping up and down in the seat, wanting to get free of that crowd, because I think he's got a car that could run with those front cars.
Rudd giving us those pictures from 10th position. Still even across between Bodine and Sterling Marlin for fourth.
Hey, they're staying up there with those running single file better than I thought they would.
Yeah, they are, Ned. That surprises me, too. I thought Earnhardt and Gordon would hook up and just pull away from the other guys.
Boy, they're bouncing all over up there in turn 4. That looks rougher than usual. 3 wide through.
Well, Bodine slowed down, and here the other Bodine is almost in trouble. What a great job Todd Bodine did of not losing that race car.
Headed down on the flat in the grass and got it back.
You know, he's an exciting guy to watch. He does a lot of things with a race car that make you kind of sit up on the edge of your seat, whether you're in the stands or in the car.
Ran a little over 190 miles an hour that last lap.
Number 4, Marlin. Running 2 cars side by side is usually a way to lose here. Those cars in a draft, nose to tail, will pull away. Not this time, and Marlin has closed in on the top 3. Earnhardt and Gordon staying there, and Sterling right with them. Musgrave back to 4th. In 5th, Elliott.
See, normally right now, Ken, they would run this way and probably till a pit stop. But somebody's got to do something if they want to win this segment. And Sterling's already been caught on the outside. He hates to get out there again, but he's going to have to make a move here pretty quick if he's going to win this thing.
Speed picking up, 192.8 the last lap.
Yeah, they're right. You notice how they're right down on that white line. Everybody's car's handling good. It's cool out there right now, and tires are not a factor. This is absolutely the cars at their best.
Everybody stabilized, just holding on here for a moment. Take a look at Bodine a moment ago. Todd Bodine.
Well, he came up on
Jeff.
his brother, Jeff. That's what caused the situation. Jeff was slowed down, pulled to the inside, and Todd had a good steam.
Boy.
Had a steam going, and I don't know how he held on to it.
Folks, I'm going to tell you, you just don't do that very often. You don't get down there like that and save it. That's usually bad news.
190 miles an hour move, and it keeps Todd Bodine in 7th place, right in the trioval. Here's Rusty Wallace, just getting around Ricky Rudd. That's for 8th position.
Yeah, he tried to follow him for a few laps, and he saw those others getting away from him, so he decided to pass him, see if he could pull Ricky on up there to him.
Yeah, they're really not a factor in this race right now, and Rudd's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. Try to finish dead last.
Halfway in the first half.
See, that's a car owner for you. He said, dollars are dollars, and I want the big ones.
Good thinking.
Now, would you do that?
If I had the chance. Maybe that's why I'm not out there.
Earnhardt, Gordon, and Marlin running 1, 2, and 3. Musgrave stays 4th. Bill Elliott in 5th. Jimmy Spencer in 6th.
I think the thing you got to remember is just like even Jeff Gordon himself said, a car in front is going to take all those cars behind Earnhardt to get by him. One car's not going to pull out and get the job done. Sterling and Jeff are going to have to work together if they're going to beat Dale.
7 cars in this lead draft. Back to Todd Bodine, who made that miraculous save 2 laps back, coming down out of 4. Gordon showing a lot of patience, just waiting here on Earnhardt, the 5-time winner in the Clash, winner of 23 Cup events, here at the Daytona Speedway, but never the 500, wants to change it next week. The guy that beat him, nose to tail in 93, will be right alongside at the start. It's the Dale and Dale Show 1 week from today.
As much success as he's had here, and that's a lot, he's never won a point-paying race here. So that's the thing.
But you know it can be done.
I know it. I know. And I was going to mention this is the 17th annual Busch Clash. This is Dale Earnhardt's 17th Daytona 500. Those 17s were good to ODW. The only problem is he got a big old 3 on the side of his car. And I had a 17 on the side of mine.
Right. Hey, by the way, Darrell qualified well for the Daytona 500 in 9th place.
Golly, I know it. I wish I was out there racing today. These Monte Carlos are good. And I tell you who I really wish was in this race, that 28 car. Because the Ford guys, I can hear them now. I can hear it up here in my headset. They're whining right now. They got 1, 2, 3 in the Chevrolets, and the Fords are lined up behind them. I can hear it coming.
Chevrolet with Earnhardt, Gordon, and Marlin. Musgrave, the first Ford.
Are they beginning to move a little bit here now?
Shuffle now.
Let's see what, checking things out a little bit.
Yeah, it's getting down close to showtime here. Not that we haven't had a good show, but we're getting ready to have a better one.
What, it'll be one more lap to go when they come by this time?
Remember, a year ago when Jeff Gordon won it overall, he had Brett Bodine to help him. They got together and they knocked down Ernie Irvin and Dale Earnhardt in the last moments of that race. I guess it was a lap and a half to go when they shot the bulls.
See, what you got, Dale's really in the, I think Dale's in the right place because what you got is Sterling and Jeff, and they're going to go right by. They're going to go right by.
Gordon trying to get down, and Earnhardt trying to block him. It opens it up for number 4. Here comes Jeff Gordon storming down the inside, and he's bringing Sterling Marlin along with him. Boy, you talk about full contact stock car racing. At over 190, they're dishing it out here. And the 23-year-old looks like he's on his way to win this first segment. Earnhardt up on the outside, Marlin below him at the line. Give it to Gordon, and Sterling Marlin will take second. Back to third falls Dale Earnhardt in his last lap.
Bill made a great move and finished fourth.
Yeah,
they were racing for it.
I tell you what was so bad, I didn't know that was the last lap. I'm thinking he made his move too soon, but it was a great move, and I thought he was probably sitting in the right spot.
Well, that looked like 1979, the 500 all over again. With Cale and Allison going at it. Great recovery, and Gordon is going to win the first half, and that's going to award him with $25,000 and a chance to start dead last in the second segment that's coming right up. They'll just invert the field, and we'll roll and watch Gordon trying to roll through. Here's Earnhardt up to have a little chat.
Yeah. He said, you know, you've done that to me once before, boy. I don't think I like this. Where's that? Don't show any respect to a 7-time champion. That was a great move, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next 10.
And he did it, Darrell. Marlin had looked like made a move to the outside at that time, so he didn't really have that much help from Sterling.
Well, I think what Sterling did is reacted to what he saw Dale do. Dale moved to the inside. Sterling said, I'll go outside, but it just couldn't be done.
Yeah, but he did quickly get back down there again, so that did help him pull the move off.
Pace car has moved out from down in the turn 1 area, and the pit road is closed. That's why everybody came by. The Bud 1 airship, aerial ambassador of the King of Beers, is proud to provide you these shots of the Daytona Speedway. Gray day, make it look pretty exciting from the old blimp. Thank you, Spokes.
Well, you know, the field's not quite as big as it was. There's a couple of less cars in the field than there was, and I don't know what kind of shape Loy Allen's car's in, so it's not quite as difficult to come from the rear.
Yeah, Loy's already gone a lap down, so he would not be, as you mentioned earlier in the show, would not be that much of a factor.
I think we may see some tire changes right here. There's Jeff Gordon's crew ready to go to work. New Monte Carlo finishing first, second, and third in this first 10-lap sprint.
Yeah, it's a good race car, Ken. But let me tell you this: it's a great race car, and I'm glad to be driving one of them. I'm glad we got it. Why the Chevrolet drivers are so excited is it's so much better than the Lumina was. This car is as good as the Ford now, and when you put the teams that have these Monte Carlos out there with cars that are good as the Fords, where you're going to see a lot of wins from the Monte Carlo this year.
From sitting up here above the start-finish line, yeah, we'd love to see a replay of that back finish, wouldn't we? That back stretch.
I would.
But for what those cars look like is they've got such a soft, almost rolled front end. Look like a crescent. compared to what they had last year. Take a look at this pass, folks.
See, Dale comes down, and I think he and Jeff actually hit, and Sterling says maybe I can get them both on the outside.
But he saw he couldn't.
He couldn't. He quickly falls back in line.
And those cars weigh like a leaf at about that point, right there.
Oh, yeah. I know just like when the 40 car hit the wall, we didn't really say, wonder if Greg's okay or not. We take for granted he is. That's something we just assume is he okay because of the way the cars are. But they hit that wall hard, and when those little nudges that we talk about, they scare the heck out of you because they move you around a lot.
Here's Mike Joy standing by with Jeff Gordon.
John Collins has the car in the air as Mike Trower and Chad Nouse change the right side tires. Tim Smith has the left side lug nuts undone as Michael Landis and Darren Jolly bring the tires over. 4-tire change, and the tires look pretty good. That's what the tire specialists at the back of the car are checking. The wear is fine in only 10 green flag laps, and they didn't pick up a lot of debris out there. Jeff shut the car off because they have plenty of time to work here with these caution laps not counting. Ray Evernham is on the radio to Jeff talking to him, and he's out in front of the car putting a little tape over the nose. Now that'll improve the aerodynamics, but it may affect the water temperature just a bit. Let's go to David Hobbs.
Well, down in Rusty Wallace's pit, he too had a 4-tire change. Engines off, no rush down here at all. Robin Pendleton, crew chief, talking to Rusty, who, as you know, wasn't running too well in that first half, but of course that'll put him right near the front in the second half, and maybe these 4 new tires will help him. They're going to do a bit of radiator blocking up here. Things running a bit cool, probably. Very cool down here in the pits today and out on the track. Ken.
There you see Waltrip's car, and all of them are going to the tape, blocking them off a little here.
Yeah, what they do is that first segment, they say, how hot was it running? Well, it was running 180. Well, we can step that up a notch and go faster, too.
Take a look at that finish that we just saw out here as the field begins to reorganize for the second half of the event. Jeff Gordon winning, Sterling Marlin second, Earnhardt third, Bill Elliott and Musgrave the top 5. Good run for Musgrave.
Yeah, good run for Bill, too.
And you see Todd Bodine, Jimmy Spencer back to 7th. Bodine pulled off another one that last couple of laps. And Mark Martin and Greg Sachs are already DNFs from it, did not finishes after they're behind the wall. Altercation on the very first lap of competition. They say that number 3 is running hot.
Yeah, you look at that water coming
next.
out the overflow, and you can see that he's running hot.
Well, yes and no. And what they're doing, they're probably putting water in it and cooling it off. That's where the overflow is, and it comes out the back. They're going to cool that bad boy down, and I bet they put a little bit more tape on her so she'll go a little bit quicker.
Darrell, I think they already have. I think
yeah.
they're up there slapping tape on a little earlier.
This is to get it down to 140 so it'll be cool for a little bit longer.
College basketball coming up here this afternoon. It's Purdue versus the Indiana Hoosiers. That's next this afternoon here on CBS. Back on pit road, and they're working on Todd Bodine, number 75. And you can see the tire mark on that one.
Yeah, see, normally if you saw that at Daytona, normally you don't see that at Daytona. Let me put that out there first. But when you do, the guy's usually been into the wall because that's a lot of contact for a track that you run 190 miles an hour on.
Mike Joy.
Todd Bodine sitting in the car as owner Butch Mock supervises the repairs. He got in a little brush there with his brother. The hood's going to go back up, and you see they have a little bit of a flopping fender there. Todd, what happened there with you and your brother Jeff and Jimmy Spencer?
Well, Jeff was trying to get out of the way, I think. He was real bad loose, and we went 3 wide going into trial, and evidently Jimmy didn't know it, and we just got together. You know, it's just one of those deals that happens.
Boy, nice save.
I can't believe I saved it.
Neither could we.
And neither, what, about 40,000 people here today? Great
you know what,
crowd
I can't
out
believe
there.
I can't believe he can talk about it. I'd still be trying to get my breath. Those little dark areas you see in the grill opening area, that's how much air these cars are taking in right now because of the shortness of the race and how you need speed. That's why they're putting that tape all on the grill. The more tape you can run up there and the more hose you can close up, the faster you'll go.
We should point out that they're inverting the lead lap cars only, so therefore Loy Allen running a lap down. He'll restart out back. Take a look at the grid for the second segment of this race. About a lap away from the start. Now, Green was scheduled to be on the pole, and he's going to pull out of there. He's requested to go to the rear. He's saying he has ignition problems, but that's how they would have started. Then Mast and Jeff Bodine would be in row 2. You have Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace in row 3. For row 4, Pennsylvania's Jimmy Spencer, New York's Todd Bodine. In row 5, you have Musgrave and Elliott. Going back to row 6, there's Earnhardt squaring off with Sterling Marlin in the number 4. Getting to row 7, there is Jeff Gordon, the winner of that first segment. Then Loy Allen, a lap down. As we get set for start, 2 cars not coming back out. Halftime. Biggest move, Sterling Marlin 9th to 2nd. And Earnhardt dominated until that final corner.
You know, Ken, in the past, being out front's been the place to be, but maybe these cars are slick enough now and sleek enough, and they got enough horsepower this year that maybe being out front's not right this year. Last couple of years, it's been good to be in front. You just couldn't get the momentum to get by, but maybe that's changing.
It sure looked like it.
It sure looked that way.
Let me ask you a question, Ned. Are you taking your heart pills yet? Here you are. You've got your son back in the front row. We're getting ready for a repeat of the Dale and Dale finish. Now they're going to start up in front for the 500. Here is Dale Jarrett on the pole by 11 one-thousandths of a second. The old master, Mr. Earnhardt, right along, still striving for his first win. Are you going to be okay next Sunday?
Oh, I think we'll be okay. We'll get through it. But it is going to be exciting, no doubt about it.
It's going to be a great race, folks. We hope you're going to be with us here on CBS. So we're coming down for a start. Hope you'll be watching it here on CBS starting at noon Eastern. From the blimp, coming down for the start. As they come to the line, Ward Burton and Rick Mast in that front row. Ricky Rudd right behind Rick Mast as they take green.
There's Bill Elliott making a move down to the inside.
Getting blocked by Jimmy Spencer. Place to run there.
Spencer saw him coming, so maybe I can pick up that draft. There's Chevrolets in the back battling.
Wasn't it Spencer that said us 4 drivers got to work together?
Yeah, right. Okay, look at those guys in the back of the field as all of a sudden Earnhardt begins to lead that pace through, and here they come.
4 abreast.
Unbelievable.
Wait a minute, guys. Is that going to work?
Oh, yeah, they'll sort it out.
Okay.
That's what you say.
Jeff Bodine in the middle. He's wondering.
Oh. If Bodine is loose, that is a handful. How do you keep the air on the spoiler in a deal like that?
Well, you just hang on. That's all you do. You just hang on.
He's still there. His brother now pulls away from him.
Now, I don't like the way this looks. No, it sorted itself out.
Well, look how quickly Earnhardt has already come to the front.
Yeah.
Bottom of the racetrack and charging right up through Earnhardt into the lead. Gordon getting trapped back there with Bill Elliott just in front of him and Spencer flanking him on the outside.
You know, Dale Earnhardt is just phenomenal for getting through traffic. That is in a lap and a half, and he's out front. That's phenomenal.
Here's Mike.
Ken, we expected the 1 and 31 to drop back from the front row. Rick Mast in car 1 has already broken the 2 best motors he brought here, and Ward Burton told his team on the first lap of this race they've got the wrong rear end gear, so they're drifting toward the back.
But drifting toward the front, Gordon closes in on Bill Elliott in 3rd. Elliott's cleared away. He's closed up on Marlin in the number 4. The 94, Bill Elliott out of Dawsonville, Georgia. Back flying his own colors this year. In the 3rd spot, here comes Gordon after it.
I think they're going to have to change the format, Ken. This inverting the field ain't working.
Well, it makes it exciting for a lap.
It does for a lap, but we're right back where we were a little while ago.
You could cut it to 2 laps. I don't think this one's over. Look at Jeff Gordon closing in again, Ned.
Yeah, he made that magnificent move on Earnhardt to get the lead on the last lap. On the first 10 laps, he's thinking the same thing. Earnhardt's wondering if the adjustments they made on his Chevrolet will keep that from happening again.
NCAA basketball coming up next on CBS. Purdue and Indiana. Great Midwestern Classic, and you'll see it here. Right now, you're watching live the Busch Clash 17th annual. Out in front, the 7-time Winston Cup champion. Earnhardt is on the point. Sterling Marlin, defending Daytona 500-mile champion, right there with him, followed by 2-time winner of the Winston Cup. Here you see of the Daytona 500, Bill Elliott, and then you see Jeff Gordon, who won this race as a 22-year-old rookie.
The guy who's really trying to protect his position right now, of course Earnhardt is too, but Sterling Marlin, he saw what Jeff Gordon did on that other. He said, I need to be in 2nd place. Don't want nobody to pass me. He was in 3rd before. And he wants to sit right there in 2nd place, see if he can do the same thing Gordon did.
See, Dale couldn't stay in traffic very long. That extra tape they put on that car, it would get too hot. It wouldn't run well. So he's got to get out front. And I'm not so sure that Sterling Marlin can do what Jeff Gordon did. Jeff's just got a real knack for this place, and he really can pull off some good moves.
193.3 miles an hour the last time around.
That's humping it right there.
Ricky Rudd back in the 5th spot. In 6th, Todd Bodine. Jimmy Spencer's deployed 7th. Rusty Wallace back at 8th.
Todd Bodine, I don't know if y'all noticed or not, but he came in and got a late pit stop. He caught the field after they took the green, and he has really worked his way right back up there. He was dead last when they took the green.
He is working his way back up.
And if nothing else, he's going to cause some excitement.
5 to go.
Oh, Nigel Marlin, that's what they're calling him now. He's hanging right in there in 2nd place. I'm really impressed with the way Bill's run, though. He's run good in the 1st segment, and here he is right up in the middle of this thing with being half over.
Yeah, he's got to feel good about the way he's running, too, with a new team. Even though he knows that his brother Ernie builds some strong engines and he has confidence in the people, but like he said in the interview before the race, he has some new people there that haven't worked together, and you just really don't know until you get out there in competition.
Well, I think I know my first year as an owner driver, I had a great year. Ricky Rudd had a great year, first year owner driver. I think Bill Elliott will have a great year.
I agree.
Dale Earnhardt calls this a go-get-it race, and he's getting it right now.
Yeah, but, you know, maybe you think maybe he'll learn something from that first one. Maybe being out front ain't the place to be, but maybe he also figured out I'm going to be a little rougher in this second. I'm going to be a little harder to pass.
Ooh, fading up very high. Looked like Jimmy Spencer getting very high in 3 and 4. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Dale Jarrett's on the pole for next Sunday's 500. He'll be in this race next year. 2 years ago, you beat Dale Earnhardt with 1 lap to go to win the Daytona 500. What does Sterling Marlin have to do to beat Dale today?
Well, I think he's got his work cut out. I don't think he's going to beat Dale. I think they're going to start shuffling around, and I think in his 2nd segment, Dale's going to make it a lot tougher for them to get around him going down the back straight.
If one car goes, will everybody go?
I think they're going to start shuffling. I think the problem's going to come that Gordon's going to try to get up there. I think they want to pass Earnhardt, but they also all want to win, so that's going to cause a problem for them.
I think Kenny Schrader called it, Ken. He just said, this could get big.
Yeah, they're going to use those Batman fenders where they widen out on that thing. That number 3 up in front, Sterling Marlin still in 2nd. Gordon peeking around the outside of the Bill Elliott number 94. Further back, here's Rusty Wallace in the 2 car as he fights his way up through the field, up to 7th.
If Gordon is going to be able to get up there and be a threat, he's got to start making a move pretty quickly.
Yeah, he does. He's got to get by Bill Elliott first. And like Dale said, when they get side by side back here racing for 2nd and 3rd, that's when Dale and somebody's going to get away from him.
He seems to have such a natural sense about how to draft. Everyone says no one drafts quite like Earnhardt, but this young man on that 24 has certainly rewritten part of that chapter.
I have been totally impressed with him from the first time he sat in a Winston Cup car. Here at Daytona particularly, he has a real knack for it.
Has a good race car to go along with it, too.
Yeah, he's got a good crew. Ray, I'm parked by Ray, and I tell you, he's
Ray Evernham.
Ray Evernham's a great crew chief, and he does a good job.
He looked a little high there going into turn 2, but there was no room there, so he hasn't been able to make a pass. Here's Todd Bodine making a pass.
Underneath Ricky Rudd.
What I think you'll see is you see that gap between Dale and those other cars change a little bit because everybody's trying to get back and get a run is what they're trying to do.
Wallace in the 2 car.
White flag will come out this time. 1 more lap to go.
Here's the front 4. This is where it's going to be decided for $45,000.
See how Sterling falls back maybe a couple of 3 car lengths. Now he'll try to pick all the momentum up he can coming off of turn 2. They let Dale get out there just a little bit to get a little run at him.
Marlin closing in again in the car number 4. Earnhardt in front.
Let me see. No, they're not going to make it. It's a done deal.
You think it's a done deal?
It's a done deal.
Here comes Elliott.
Waited too long. Waited too long. Got too far back. Had the right idea. Just they waited too long.
You used to many years ago before the restrictor plate days, you did it coming off of turn 4, and then it kept moving further back around the racetrack. Now I guess you got to do it, what, at the start-finish line when you get the white flag?
Down for the checkers. One more shot. Short. Earnhardt does it for the 6th time. Wins the Busch Clash. A great start for the week. But can he end that problem on Sunday in the 500 and finally win it after 17 tries? Earnhardt has won the Busch Clash. 125-mile qualifiers will be shown Saturday here on CBS. Hope you'll be with us to enjoy that. And Sunday at noon Eastern, the Great American Race. Basketball, Purdue versus Indiana coming up next. For Ned Jarrett, Mike Joy, David Hobbs, and Darrell Waltrip. Ken Squire saying so long from Daytona Beach, where Earnhardt has won the 1995 Busch Clash.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Stern. This is the new cookbook I've prepared with the Heart and Stroke Foundation, Simply Heart Smart Cooking. It has over 200 recipes to help you eat better in every way, with lots of straight talk about nutrition and menu planning. It's the latest and best in the Foundation's cookbook library. Simply Heart Smart Cooking.
Sponsorship of the Gatorade Twin 125s. The fans of NASCAR are the most loyal in all of sport, and we're proud to continue to bring this exciting event to them.
Going back to Daytona to hear those engines scream. I'm going back to Daytona. I'm going back to a speedway dream. I can still hear the thunder of the stock car race. Cheers for the driver in first place. The harder odds are making that the rolling sound. You can feel it thundering all over town. Going back to Daytona. Going back to a dream.
This is the world center of racing, Daytona Beach, Florida. Home tomorrow of the 37th annual Daytona 500. Hello everyone, Ken Squire, and welcome to the Daytona International Speedway, where tomorrow CBS Sports brings you live flag-to-flag coverage starting at noon Eastern of this absolutely magnificent race. We have a tremendous field for the 1995 gathering, 42 drivers at the ready. And to our colleague, Ned Jarrett, I guess the first question is, can you ever remember a year, and we've been down here, and things have gone so smoothly, so easily?
It's almost scary, Ken. They have been going so smoothly, no major incidents, some spins on the racetrack, but certainly no life-threatening injuries of any sort, and we're always glad of that. There was a lot of anticipation coming into this race with the new Monte Carlo Chevrolet. How would they perform on the super speedways? A lot of people thought they might not run very fast, but they'd be good in the race. But when qualifying was all over, Dale Jarrett was on the pole with a Ford and Dale Earnhardt in a Chevrolet on the outside pole with a very close time, so no telling situation there.
Well, anticipation is part of it, but preparation is the major factor in coming to Daytona. And to David Hobbs, the preparation has been just astounding this year. Everybody's been trying to work out these new cars.
Well, absolutely, Ken. Racing is certainly not just a one-day wonder. It's not just on Sunday. There's an amazing amount of preparation and testing goes on, and a full winter's testing down here at Daytona. And most of the time, Ford seemed to be having the edge. Dale Jarrett, of course, being particularly fast, and it was all Ford, Ford, Ford. But since we all got here 10 days ago, those Chevrolet Monte Carlos have really started to flex their muscles and look very, very strong. We've got Dale Earnhardt, Darrell Waltrip, Sterling Marlin, and Jeff Gordon looking very, very potent in their Monte Carlos, and this afternoon's races are going to be really important to set tomorrow's grid.
And of course, David, those Pontiacs, as we saw, as you're about to see in the 125 milers, that's a story that's coming right up here on CBS. But first, the biggest story here, the man of the hour, is standing by with Mike Joy.
Dale Earnhardt, one day to the Great American Race. What's going to be different this time around?
Hopefully we'll be in victory lane. We've worked awful hard for it, Mike. Everybody's really pumped up. Feels good about this week, the way the car and everybody's been running, and the way my luck's been going. It's been pretty good. So we're just taking them one by one. And today's Busch Grand National race with Jeff Green driving, and we're going to see what he can do, and hopefully we'll be okay for tomorrow.
Richard Petty says the best you can do on any given day is put your car in a position to win. Circumstances dictate the outcome. How much of your own luck do you make?
Well, you can make your own luck. You just got to keep the car in the right position, and that's what Richard's talking about, is just, moving and making the right moves and being patient at the right times. It's just a lot goes into 500 miles. So if you were doing everything right all day long, you're going to end up in the right place.
You may not have exactly the fastest car here, but do you have the best car here?
We got one of the best cars here. There's a couple cars out there that are really good, so I think we're one of the best. Maybe we'll be the best at the end of 500 miles.
You've won more than 24 races on this racetrack, but what's so different about the third Sunday in February?
I got no idea. We've always been good on that day. It's just some come up short somewhere.
Well, perhaps this Sunday he'll be just a little better. When we come back, the Gatorade Twin 125s to show you how everyone qualifies for the Daytona 500.
What happens when a car offers the comfort of a luxury car and the performance of a sports car? What happens when the same car can outmaneuver expensive European sedans while getting the gas mileage of a four-cylinder compact? This is what happens. Presenting Motor Trend's Import Car of the Year, the Maxima from Nissan.
You have high hopes for your future, but you have obstacles to overcome. You need a plan, because when you have a plan, you can work with what you have to build for the future you want, knowing it is possible. Call for your book of possibilities from Bank of Montreal, because with a plan, you can succeed.
From mufflers to brakes to tune-ups, under your car or under your hood, Canadian Tire has you covered, because we have licensed technicians specially trained to perform each job, all with the experience that comes from servicing over 10,000 cars every day. And we install only quality parts backed by a nationwide guarantee. So when your car needs service, come to the place with the parts, the warranties, and the specialists you can trust to get the job done right. Canadian Tire. There's a lot more for your car for a lot less.
As the thermometer drops, dangerous crystals can form in your car's engine, threatening to shorten its life. That's why today's Quaker State has engineered intelligent oil. Oil that senses the changing threats in your engine and adapts its own molecular structure for continuous protection. Whenever the driving conditions change, so does Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
CTV Sports proudly presents the Daytona Twin 125s, sponsored by Molson Canadian, IBM Canada Limited.
At Daytona Beach, Florida, largest crowd ever gathered for the 125-mile qualifiers around this 2.5-mile track, awaiting to see who will make it into the 36th annual Daytona 500. The weather couldn't be better. As you take a look out here over Lake Lloyd, temperature going to break 80 before we get this race underway, perhaps. Humidity's about right. Just a slight breeze, and it's sunny weather for both of these 50-lap events today. Down on pit road, there's the first 125-mile qualifier field, and up on the very front, it's Dale Jarrett, the man on the pole. And standing by with him is Mike Joy.
Thanks, Ken. Dale is already assured of the pole for Sunday's 500, so for you and you alone, this is not a qualifying race. What is it then?
More of a 50-lap test for us. We've been struggling with the car a little bit, so we're going to try to get it worked out here today. If it'll run up front, that's what we're going to do. If not, we're going to settle in and see what we need to do for Sunday, but we need to start this car here on the pole come Sunday.
Larry McReynolds and crew made a lot of changes on this car this morning. What and why?
Well, we just haven't been able to hit the handle combination that we've wanted. The car's been a little bit loose. And we just evaluated everything that we had done and thought we'd try something a little bit different that has worked in the past for them, and hopefully it'll work now.
Good luck, Dale. Across the front row, a man for whom this race is very important, with David Hobbs.
Sterling Marlin, you won the 500 last year. You qualified really good last weekend, and it's run strong all week. How confident are you today?
Well, I tell you, Tony and the boys have done a real good job on the car. It's handled great, drove great, run great, and so I think we'll win it today. I tell you, it's real stout, and we'll just keep our fingers crossed. Try to win today, and we'll try to win Sunday.
Big rise in temperature today over the rest of the week. Is that going to affect the handling?
Yeah, it probably will. I say the track's going to get slicker. It's been real cool all week, and today's first hot day, so we adjusted the car a little bit this morning, and I believe we'll be okay.
Well, good luck and thanks very much. And back to Ken Squire with the starting grid for the first of the 125-mile qualifying heats.
In row 1 and on the pole for the Daytona 500 this year, Dale Jarrett, alongside defending Daytona 500 champion Sterling Marlin. In row 2, it's Terry Labonte and Michael Waltrip. Row 3 is a 5-time 125-mile winner, Darrell Waltrip and Kyle Petty. Row 4 is newcomer Davy Jones and Rusty Wallace. Row 5, Jeff Purvis from Tennessee and Missouri's Ken Schrader. Row 6 is Steve Grissom and Mike Wallace. For row 7, Dick Trickle and Dave Marcus making his 27th 125-mile start. In row 8, it's Bobby Hillen and Richie Petty. Row 9 is Jeff Bodine and Jeremy Mayfield. For row 10, Bobby Hamilton and Kenny Wallace. Row 11, 14-time sprint car champion Steve Kinzer and Shauna Robinson. In row 12, it's Kerry Teague and Gary Bradbury. Row 13, Kenny Bouchard and Joe Ruttman. Row 14, Ward Burton and Joe Nemechek. For the 15th row, Brett Bodine and Doug Heveron. And rounding out the field, row 16, Del McCowart, and making his first Daytona effort, Bob Strait. Field in turn 4 and approaching for the start of the first 125-mile, 50-lap race. Top 14, excluding Dale Jarrett, qualify for the Daytona 500 from this event. Terry Labonte set the mark at nearly 190 miles an hour back in '89. Kinzer in the Bernstein number 26 after spinning in practice a day ago, relegated to last spot. He's pulled out. He entered another car, so he has to start in the rear back there with Bob Strait.
That is a NASCAR rule. If you bring out a backup car, you have to start in the rear. Has no effect on his qualifying speed.
Packed house for the 125-mile qualifiers. 1993 winner Dale Jarrett brings them down. A couple of laps to get to speed. Jarrett jumps out in front into the 31-degree banking for the first time.
And for the first time with a new setup under the car that he hasn't tried before, so I'm sure he's going to turn 3 a little bit anxious.
They made a lot of changes on that pole car. There's 17. Waltrip making a run. Jarrett out in front. They changed the springs. What else did they change on 28 this morning?
The sway bar and some of the shock absorbers.
You see Sterling Marlin deployed, setting in third. Terry Labonte, former winner in this event in a 125-miler. Rusty Wallace even with Michael Waltrip in the yellow number 30. First lap, approaching the line to complete it. And it will be Jarrett in first, Marlin in second, Labonte in third. Waltrip is there. Kyle Petty right up in the front of the hunt, 5th spot. Front 5 trying to break away. Rusty Wallace back in the car number 2 trying to close on this quintet. Marlin to the inside. Eases back on that Morgan McClure car. There you're riding with him. And now they're at full speed at over 190 miles an hour. Approaching pass for the lead.
Terry Labonte pulled up behind Sterling Marlin, and they just drive right on by Jarrett going into the turn. Here comes Darrell Waltrip down on the inside. He'll make the pass as well.
Darrell Waltrip having a very good Daytona 500 Speed Weeks effort. 5-time winner in the 125s. Pulls himself up another notch to third. Kyle Petty 4th. Rusty Wallace. Big aspirations for this race. Line 5th. Dale Jarrett, handful right there, Ned.
Yes, he did have a handful with cars underneath him and getting a lot of air off of them. Makes the cars jump around.
Drops back Jeff Purvis in the 44. Tennessee driver beneath him and shooting through. Marlin stays in front. There you see Terry Labonte in third and Waltrip having a great run in third spot.
No surprise that Sterling Marlin would be up front, but Michael Waltrip, who started up near the front, has dropped way back in the field. His Pontiac was very fast here in practice and in qualifying, but Michael dropped back to about 10th position.
Started in 4th, he has fallen to 10th, and that was the lead Pontiac among them here. Looking further back in the field, and there you see that yellow number 30. Just in front of them, Dale Jarrett. He will still start from the pole in the 500. This is a good test bed for Jarrett as well as for Earnhardt. And look at the 77, the white number 77. That's Davy Jones, road racing expert. Several Indianapolis cars start. Switching, going to run the entire series this year. Try for Rookie of the Year in the Winston Cup standings. Back with the leaders. And it's still Sterling Marlin pacing them down into turn number 1 with Terry Labonte in that Hendrick car, looking very stout in second place.
Yes, very strong. I think a lot of people are predicting him to be a major threat for the championship this year and also for the Daytona 500. Here's Kyle Petty coming up on the outside of Darrell Waltrip. That's a bold move up on the outside. See if he can get any help. They're running side by side. Here's Ken Schrader behind Rusty Wallace.
See a little wobble on Waltrip there as he came into 3. That Pontiac up on the outside looking strong for Kyle Petty in the early going of his first 125-mile qualifying race for the 36th annual Daytona 500.
And Ken, as those cars run side by side, you can see the front 2 cars beginning to pull away. Now they single out a little bit. Waltrip dropping back a little bit. He got in a similar situation to what Dale Jarrett did. No help down there for somebody to push him on through, and those cars are just driving by him on the outside.
Meanwhile, you see the 29 there for a moment of Steve Grissom, the sophomore Alabama, having a very good ride, pulling himself up through the field. Grissom in the 29.
Drafting is so important. Here's Darrell Waltrip battling 460, still down on the inside. Now here comes Jarrett and Michael Waltrip. Now Mike Wallace pulls out behind Waltrip. He picks up his draft and is able to move around the car number 25 of Steve Grissom. And here's Jarrett going on the inside. Michael Waltrip following him through.
A report from Mike Joy.
Ned, that draft is just what put Michael Waltrip back to 11th place. Their crew says there's nothing wrong with the car, but he was behind Dale Jarrett, got shuffled back in the draft. They're going to ride for a while and see how this plays out, and then try to make a move toward the front. The car is okay.
Look at the momentum that Jeff Purvis picked up with those 2 cars running side by side. He drove by both of them going into turn 3. Now Steve Grissom gets a little help from the 43 car of Bobby Hamilton, and
Dick Trickle back there giving a little assistance.
Yeah, he's
too
in the car number 15.
Dick Trickle's race cam giving you these pictures from the Bud Moore Engineering car, pulling up on number 30, Michael Waltrip. Tight run down through there.
I was hoping Michael knew he was out there.
Showing 7 laps complete of 50 to be run. Dick Trickle giving you these pictures, and they're back around Jeff Purvis in the 44. Going much further back in the field now. There you see, that's Brett Bodine up in the Junior Johnson, number 11, going around Doug Heveron. They're fighting back in the 25th position.
That's Gary Bradbury in car number 52, the Jimmy Means car, right out in front of them.
Down to the inside, sweeping Bobby Hill in number 20. Whoa, he almost had it on the apron.
That was a similar move to what we saw Mark Martin make in the Busch Clash. And Mark didn't get by with it, Bobby did.
Caution out. Caution coming out as they come down by. Completing 8th. Yellow is out around the track. Car number 26 has blown. That's the Kinzer car. Steve Kinzer, Bloomington, Indiana, will have to hope for a provisional berth to make it into the 500. Back in a moment.
أصاحبي أنا مخلق مرتني الإدارة نرجع جميع الكمبيوترات اتصلوا ببعضياتهم أنا ما نصنعش الصواريخ.
واش محتي مع أبيم في الموضوع؟
لا لا.
شوف راه يمكن لهم يجعلوا الكمبيوتر ديالك يتصل بالكمبيوتر ديالهم ويتصل بأي كمبيوتر.
وعندك نمرة التليفون ديالهم؟
معلوم. غادي نصيفط لك مكالمة إلكترونية.
Life in the Middle Ages.
Oh, Thorpe. Gee, I know someone named Thorpe.
Probably my ex-husband. He's a plastic surgeon. Oh, hi, Jeff.
Hiya, Pumpkin.
Jeff, please stop calling me Pumpkin.
I call all my ex-wives Pumpkin.
I speak for all of us.
Nah, she's a little rattled because she just found out she's gonna be a grandma.
There's Only One Sybil. New on CTV Monday.
To the men who give their best every day, we offer our best. Gillette Sensor XL, spring-mounted twin blades and microfins to set up your beard for the world's closest shave Gillette, the best a man can get.
We changed the way you saw the world. Now we've made a world of changes. Introducing the new Ford Explorer. The only leading sport utility with standard dual airbags. The only one with Control Track, which provides four-wheel drive traction automatically. Plus an engine that lets you go 160,000 kilometers before your first scheduled tune-up. The new Ford Explorer. Far and away the best the world has to offer.
Tomorrow, 12 o'clock Eastern, right here on CBS. Join us for our live coverage of the 36th Annual Daytona 500. Here in the Gatorade Twin 125, Sterling Marlin just in front of Terry Labonte, Kyle Petty, Wallace and Schrader making up the top 5. Then Darrell having a good run up in 6. Mike Wallace, Dale Jarrett getting ready for a go, and the Pontiac pace car drops off. Looks like it's going to be a battle at the start between Labonte and Sterling Marlin. And we're back under green.
And we'll see how that negotiation came out. But I expect Terry will stay back there and try to draft with Marlin and hope they can.
Waltrip with a 17 takes a shot immediately. Richie Petty running very slowly on the track on that start. Came across the start-finish line, and I believe he's going to pull off down here in turn number 1, running very slowly. Dale Jarrett giving you these exciting pictures. He closes and goes by Mike Wallace. Take a look at that telemetry as the speed climbs on Dale Jarrett's car number 28. It's won a 125-mile qualifier, that number in this team on 2 previous occasions. Davey Allison did it for them once and Ernie Irvin once. Coming by to complete a lap, and you still have Sterling Marlin in the lead. Terry Labonte holding right on in second place. Kyle Petty maintaining third. And Schrader looks like he wants to mix it up in this thing a little.
That is no surprise. He loves to run up front, loves to win.
From Dick Trickle's view, see Steve Grissom up on the outside. Mike Wallace just in front.
Yeah, the 3 Fords teamed up together. Jarrett's right in front of Mike Wallace, and now Trickle in his Ford has hooked onto them, trying to go by the Steve Grissom car.
9th, 10th, and 11th positions there. First 125-miler stays stable up in front. Back to the line they come.
6 cars out in the lead draft, running single file.
Schrader back in the 6th, up in 5th. It is Waltrip. 4th is Wallace. 3rd is Petty. 2nd, Labonte, and Marlin leads the pack. And then look at this game.
And here's Ken Schrader going by Darrell Waltrip on the outside, taking over the 5th position.
Nips another. The pesky Schrader continuing to move through the field.
Rusty Wallace running 4th. He's the first of the Ford drivers. A lot of speculation coming into Speed Weeks here at Daytona about the new Monte Carlo Chevrolet. What kind of a race car would it be? I think they've proven already in qualifying in the Busch Clash and then already here today that it's going to be a good race car. We've got 2 of them out front, and Pontiac and Kyle Petty running 3rd.
Chevrolet Monte Carlo won, as you saw on CBS, the Busch Clash. I don't know if that counts as a full Winston Cup event.
No,
Monte Carlo has 199 wins. If they win here in this event, that would get the number up to 200. Sterling Marlin giving us this shot at second place. Terry Labonte closing in the back straightaway. Long time to think back there, Ned.
Oh, yes. Even though they get there quickly, they approach 200 miles an hour going into turn 3. Still, it's time for them to think.
Out to the wall, and back comes Labonte chasing Marlin.
Those 6 cars now, after Schrader made his move, moving into 5th, seem content to run in single file. Well, now Darrell Waltrip, maybe he has some ideas. He's pulling down on the inside as Schrader goes high. In fact, Schrader's going high to try to move around Rusty Wallace. He made that move on Darrell Waltrip. Can he pull it off on Rusty?
Wallace pitches him just a little.
And Darrell Waltrip comes on the inside of Schrader, so that's going to kill Schrader's chances of making a pass. In fact, he's losing the position.
Meanwhile, the second group closes up, led by Dale Jarrett. He's in 7th. Mike Wallace in 8th. Dick Trickle in 9th. Steve Grissom 10th. Jeff Purvis 11th. Michael Waltrip 12th. Davy Jones, the rookie, having a good ride in the 77, back in 13th.
Waltrip sort of caught down on the inside. Let's see one. Now Jarrett has caught him. He's going to follow Schrader, it looks like. And that'll shuffle Waltrip back a little bit farther.
Got an average speed of over 190 miles per hour on that last lap. And look at Dale Jarrett wrestling that car into the back straightaway.
Fighting the steering wheel. Everyone has said the problems that they are having getting the car set up right is coming off of turn 2. The car is it's the shortest turn on the speedway here, and it's tough to get set up for it. Now turn 3 and 4, it's a longer sweeping type turn. Doesn't bind the car down quite as much.
Jarrett, he is closing in on Schrader. Leader continues to be Sterling Marlin first, Terry Labonte second, Kyle Petty third, Rusty Wallace fourth, Schrader to 5th, Jarrett to 6th, Waltrip falls to 7th. Take a look at this scramble. There is Joe Ruttman leading that group. Right behind him, Jeremy Mayfield in the number 98 and the number 31, Ward Burton and Bobby Hamilton. Remember the last time we had a Hamilton in a Petty car? Won the Daytona 500 back in 1970. That was Pete Hamilton.
No relation.
No relation. One of those damn Yankees.
Hey, Bobby makes a good move there in the Richard Petty car. Joe Ruttman goes right with him. All of these guys are trying to get up there in the top 15 positions. That is their mission and their goal.
And that's the battle for the bubble right now. Hamilton is in 15th. The number 80, Ruttman, right with him in Mayfield. Make or break situation in that part of the pack. Meanwhile, for the front, Sterling Marlin steady out there in first place. And Terry Labonte, who's finished second twice in the 500. Mr. Consistency in the past several years, hanging right on. Further back in the field, see Rusty Wallace coming by. That's your 5th place car. And right with him comes Dale Jarrett in the 28 and 6, driving that Robert Yates car.
4 cars are broken away. Rusty Wallace running 5th and Jarrett in 6th. And those 4 cars up front, the 3 Chevrolets and Kyle Petty, have pulled away. Now Kyle wants to do a little bit of racing. Pulling down on the inside, taking over 2nd from Terry Labonte.
Fine performance by the Kyle Petty Pontiac up into 2nd. This report from David Haas.
Hi, I'm with Paul Andrews in Jeff Bodine's pit. What's wrong with Jeff this afternoon? He's slipping right to the back.
Well, we kind of lost the draft there. Now we can't really run along. You know, we're kind of hoping we can get a little caution here, actually, and get caught back up. We'll just have to see.
Is your speed going to be all right to get you in the race?
Well, it'll be marginal. We might, you know, depends on what happens up in the front and with the rest of the pack, up in the front runners. We'll just have to see from there.
Well, good luck in the race, Paul. Not the way you want to start the season off at Daytona. Ken?
There you see that 7 car that had such high hopes, the 86 champion in this race. Jeff Bodine having his problems. Remember when they restarted, he was 23rd. He's fallen to 24th. Looking back from leader Sterling Marlin to Kyle Petty, lurking in 2nd.
The all-new Mazda Protege LX has more room than any car in its class. But what class is it? After all, it has more room than the Honda Civic, more room than a Nissan Altima, even more than a 5 Series BMW. So what class would you guess the new Protege is in? Well, here's a hint. The all-new Mazda Protege LX. There's a surprise in every package.
He saw the face of death and lived to tell.
You're the only witness to a murder.
Now, he is caught between the fury of the ninja.
Bring me his head.
And the wrath of the samurai.
It's between him and me.
Christopher Lambert, John Lone, Joan Chen, The Hunted. Starts Friday, February 24th at theaters everywhere.
As the thermometer drops, dangerous crystals can form in your car's engine, threatening to shorten its life. That's why today's Quaker State has engineered intelligent oil. Oil that senses the changing threats in your engine and adapts its own molecular structure for continuous protection. Whenever the driving conditions change, so does Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
When you finally decide and you take that first step toward your goal, you leave behind the doubts and uncertainties that made you think you couldn't do it, and you feel the confidence of knowing that what you want is possible. For your book of possibilities and RRSP planning guide, call 1-800-463-3434 from Bank of Montreal.
Country against #1 Connecticut. That's 3:45 this afternoon here on CBS. At Daytona, it's Marlin, Schrader, Kyle Petty, Labonte, the front four, and here comes Jarrett along with Waltrip beneath Wallace for fifth.
Jarrett had been following Wallace there for a while, and maybe he figured that he could pull them a little bit faster. Those front four cars had begun to get away a little bit, so Darrell Waltrip goes with Dale Jarrett and makes the pass. So see if Jarrett can pull him faster than Rusty was.
That puts Waltrip into 6th. Leaves Rusty Wallace back in 7th for the moment. Up in front, Marlin leading, Schrader in 2nd and trying to close in, and there's the interval. As you look at it, out of the back of Sterling Marlin's Chevrolet to the Chevy of Ken Schrader, now 2nd, the Pontiac of Kyle Petty in 3rd, then the Chevy of Terry Labonte 4th, and the first Ford is 5th place, Dale Jarrett.
A little surprising that one car would be able to pull away a little bit, break away, because normally on these tracks where they run the restrictor plates on the engines and the drafting plays such a major part, it's surprising to see one pull away. But Sterling Marlin, he was very confident when David Hobbs interviewed him before the race that he could win this thing, and by golly, he's pulling away.
Well, as you look at the running order, after the first 25 laps, Griffin up in there. Dick Trickle is still in a spot to qualify. Mike Wallace, Bobby Hamilton. There's the man on the bubble, Joe Rutten. Michael Waltrip has made the show at halfway. There's the group just outside. Ward Burton, Davy Jones, Dave Marcus struggling to get in here. Jeremy Mayfield, the Cale Yarborough car. Side-by-side racing going on.
Well, Darrell Waltrip.
5th, and Waltrip shot through.
Yeah, Waltrip shot through, and Rusty Wallace came with him, moved Jarrett back to the 7th position.
You surprised about how effective these Chevrolets are? First time we've seen the new Monte Carlo, Ned?
Not really. When you look at that race car and also take into consideration the homework that Chevrolet did and all the teams for more than a year now, they've been working on that race car, and they came out here with a very good race car. A lot of speculation as to how it really would be, but no big surprise that it is doing well.
If you're just joining us, temperatures have climbed into the 80s today, and the Monte Carlos seem to be enjoying it just fine in this Daytona weather, with Sterling Marlin leading, Ken Schrader in 2nd, Labonte in 4th, now Waltrip in 5th. Breaking up that Chevy organization in front is the Pontiac of Kyle Petty in 3rd. Average speed stays at about 152 miles an hour. There's no record here. You've got to go green all the way to get close to the mark that was established back in 1989. They averaged 189.5 miles an hour for 125 miles of racing. Give that record to Terry Labonte. There's 67, Ken Bouchard out of Fitchburg, Massachusetts, slowing. Del McCoward also getting picked up. Leaders into some back markers here. And take a look at Schrader, who is coming on the outside. Ken Schrader's going for it. That big lead evaporates. It's down to about 1 car length, by which Sterling Marlin leads Schrader going into turn 1.
When Marlin made the move to go low under Del McCowart, that was a mistake as far as his speed was concerned, because he had to turn the car left, scrub some speed off, and that gave Schrader the run that he made there and ran right up on him.
Ken Schrader having a great 1995 Daytona Speed Weeks. He's already had a winner as an owner in the Automobile Racing Club of America's 200-miler. Andy Hillenberg gave him that. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Ken Howes is Schrader's crew chief. And Ken, are you surprised it's taken everybody so long to pull down on that 4-car?
Yeah, that 4 car is always tough here. You know they can run here, and I'm just pretty happy that we look like we can keep up.
You're keeping up pretty well right now. What has Kenny said on the radio? Can he overtake him?
It's a little early to try yet. We're just trying to get close enough to have a shot. We might get close enough, and let's see what happens.
Well, you can tell that Kenny Howe is not one of the good old Southern boys as a crew chief on the car, but he's a tremendous individual, has a lot of talent.
Certainly does, and look, almost feels like Schrader may be toying with that 4 car for the moment. What do you think?
I don't know. The 4 car, Sterling Marlin, has pulled out a little bit again after Schrader ran up so close, and I think if Schrader could, that he would stay right on his back bumper.
A wonderful racing character named Runt Pittman builds the engines in that car number 4, and if you are blessed with him as an engine builder, you are truly blessed in this sport.
He knows how to pack horsepower into one.
Yep, sandwiches him right in there. Take a look a little further back at Terry Labonte. Goes up to the outside on Kyle Petty and makes the move.
Yeah, made a good move there on the high side. Kyle couldn't do much about it, so he'll fall in behind Labonte there. It seems like Terry's car maybe had gotten a little bit loose, but he found a place up there on the high side of the track maybe that would run, and we'll see if he continues to do that. Yeah, he's going up high once again, so he might have found himself something there that will help his Chevrolet.
He's one that likes to experiment with these tracks. He will run everywhere. Reminds you a lot of Harry Gant. And he has closed some ground. Terry Labonte doing what he does best, the Iceman. So cool, so methodical. Trying to close back up on Schrader. Remember, he ran the first portion of this race right there in second spot. And look at that high line. Just grabs hold of that handrail and pulls himself down off turn 2. Laps averaging a little over 109. Excuse me, Ned.
Now, Bobby Hillen has moved up into the 15th position on the bubble, has moved Joe Ruttman back to 16th.
There you see how the front 4 are deployed, and now you've got 2 of them trying the high side. There is Bobby Hillen in that Moroso car around Kenny Bouchard off the pace. Closing up on Joe Nemechek in his new colors.
Now, Nemechek definitely has to finish in the top 15 in this race, or he will go home. His speed will not get him in the race. He has a new team, and he has no points to fall back on as far as a provisional is concerned.
14th place Nemechek. Getting shot down here by Bobby Hillen on the inside, but not without giving it a good, strong fight. Nemechek with his own team this year comes right back on the outside. Bet those spotters are saying to him, you've got to get your boot in it and do it now.
Yes, sir. He can't afford to lose any other position, and Hillen loses it. Down on the inside, the back end just simply got away from him. He stays down on the inside.
Pull the air off the spoiler, and away goes Bobby Hillen on that brand new paved area as you came out of turn 2, racing back to the line. Caution coming out. Bobby Hillen out of Midland, Texas, flat spotting a set of tires. He'll have to come in, and he has to get out here and go racing. He needs to have a good finish to assure himself a place in the Daytona 500. We'll be back with more in a moment.
Mon disque dur est plein. Il faut que j'archive 500 MB ou je suis fichu.
Oh, ça, c'est embêtant. J'ai entendu dire qu'il travaillait sur un nouveau procédé laser pour stocker de l'information.
Le laser? Qui fait ça?
IBM. Oui, IBM. Ils disent même qu'on pourra stocker 10 fois plus de données.
C'est incroyable.
CTV News, a concise, meaningful portrait of your world.
From antifreeze to air filters to wiper blades, inside, outside, top to bottom, Canadian Tire has you covered. Because we have the experience that comes from servicing over 10,000 cars every day and more than 65,000 auto parts and products, which means we help maintain more cars than anyone. So whatever you need, come to the one place with everything, Canadian Tire. There's a lot more for your car for a lot less.
Life is what happens
while you're waiting for the lights to change. The new Talon TSI Turbo with all-wheel drive. It smokes signals.
The Bud One Airship, aerial ambassador of the King of Beers, providing these beauty shots of the Daytona International Speedway. And from the blimp, let's review the plight of Bobby Hillen out here in turn 2.
Here's the 20 car of Bobby Hillen down on the inside, Joe Nemechek and car number 87 up on the outside, and the car number 80 of Joe Ruttman right here. He's taking a little bit of air off the spoiler of Hillen's car. Now, as Hillen gets a little bit deeper into the turn, we'll move it forward, and you can see the back end of the car start to move up a little bit, and there's not a great deal that he can do about it. It just, the air comes off the spoiler, and it goes around, maybe touches the car number 87 just a little bit, not enough to hurt. Ruttman very alertly goes to the high side of the racetrack. He gets by, and Hillen keeps it on the asphalt, does not slide back up on the track, and the asphalt there scrubs off the speed. He doesn't hit anything.
Now, with this caution, several cars have stayed on the track, and it has changed the leaderboard dramatically. A great race among those top guys to get back out there. But Schrader stayed on the track, and he stays first. For that matter, Grissom, Marcus, Bodine, and Robinson, they elected not to pit and take on new tires. Back in 6th is Kyle Petty, 7th Sterling Marlin, 8th Darrell Waltrip. They all came in for new rubber. And it poses a question here about strategy as we go back to green. Ned, is this good strategy for Ken Schrader up in front, not to come in and take on rubber?
Well, it really isn't that bad. It's somewhat of a gamble, knowing that those drivers took on new tires back there, but they got all of those cars between them. They got to pass those before they get to him. They're going to wear a lot of that new off those tires before they get up to him.
And you can see a maneuver immediately. It looks like Kyle Petty trying to jam up the outside, goes way to the wall, and he comes on. Here comes Sterling Marlin moving through, and 17 Waltrip right there with Kyle Petty, and here's Sterling Marlin trying to pull him down into turn 3.
And look how they went around Jeff Bodine in the car number 7. Jeff did not pit, had on the older, hotter tires. I think that's going to make a big difference.
Time running out of the first 125-mile qualifier. Got one car almost on the wall. Looked like it was grazing it as it came down out of turn number 4. And to the line goes the car number 68 that started well out in the back. That was Bob Strait. I thought he had it on the wall, did not. Schrader stays up in front. And again, the high side of the racetrack seems to be the trick here out of turn number 2. Where they hauling the nail. Grissom in second, now to the outside, Sterling Marlin. Small piece of debris down here. It looks like it's right near the start-finish line. Back comes the field. To the inside, going for first place. And Sterling Marlin pulls himself right back up into the lead. Schrader in second. Dave Marcus maintaining that third position. So those people that changed tires, leading that assault upon that group of 6 that elected not to. And Marlin has worked his way right back through the field. Steve Grissom stays up in there looking strong for the moment.
Has a new crew chief this year, Buddy Parrott, who was crew chief for Rusty Wallace, who is going by Steve Grissom there right now.
Kyle Petty looking underneath Grissom. Dale Jarrett.
He's trying to climb. Ooh, Terry Labonte got awfully close to him. Jarrett is following Joe Nemechek there.
And Kyle Petty's just on the inside of Nemechek. Kyle Petty back there in 7th. Nemechek in 8th. Just in front of Jarrett, charging back up through.
And they're losing ground, too, as they run side by side, all of these cars. Here comes Michael Waltrip on the inside of Jarrett. Jarrett got hung up behind Nemechek out there. Nemechek does not have new tires on, and that's going to cost him a little bit of speed.
The veteran Dave Marcus, who's twice won a 125-miler, up on the outside. From behind, Dale Jarrett's car.
That's Jeff Purvis in the car number 44.
And there's Michael Waltrip in the number 30 trying to slide into the picture.
Right.
8 laps to go. Up in front, Marlin showing a lot of authority in this first 125-mile qualifier. But back here, wide open for those other spots to claim a starting position in the 36th annual Daytona 500. Rusty Wallace moves down on the bottom, and I must say that performance by Dave Marcus today is something. Look at that. Ooh. How about Kyle Petty in the middle? With Dale
Kyle
Jarrett,
backed out.
Labonte on the outside. Jarrett down low.
Jerry forgot what he said at the top of the show. Said we want to start this car in the Daytona 500. If he wrecks this car, he'd have to start in the back of the pack in the Daytona 500. His guaranteed starting position in the field is okay, but not necessarily up front. It has to be this race car.
Well, he almost got both sides swiped on that one. Here's Mike Joy.
Well, a lot of smiles in the 4-car pit as Sterling Marlin pulls away, and a lot of it's because of this man, Runt Pittman. Runt, he's walking away. What have you got under the hood of that thing?
We got a Chevrolet motor in it.
Yeah, and what have you done to it?
We worked on it.
Well, this winter specifically, what have you found?
We just got a good combination, and all seems to work pretty good.
I guess it does.
Yeah, I would say so. Runt's engines always runs well here and everywhere, really.
But look at Waltrip, too, Ned. I mean, what a great run for Waltrip. It's been a long time since we've seen him fly like this.
He came to Daytona with a lot of enthusiasm this year.
Waltrip up to second, Schrader back to third, Wallace goes to fourth. And into fifth comes Dale Jarrett, Kyle Petty back to sixth, Terry Labonte seventh, Dave Marcus staying eighth. Ninth is Michael Waltrip, Nemechek 10th, followed by Grissom, Rutland, Purvis, Trickle, and back in 15th is Ward Burton's number 31. Waltrip closing up. You've got Chevrolet Monte Carlos running first, second, and third. Rusty Wallace and Dale Jarrett fourth and fifth in Fords.
And you can see the new tires, not having new tires, are hurting Schrader. He's dropped back. Those front two cars are pulling away from him. He's able to stay ahead of Rusty Wallace right now. But I think if he had the new tires, I think he would be in better shape.
See that? 9 car on Nemechek for a moment. Really close. Showing Jeremy Mayfield now into 15th position on the bubble in the Cale Yarborough car. Laps running out. 45 complete. 5 to go. 4.5 from here. And stretching out a lead right now is Sterling Marlin, defending Daytona 500-mile champion. 17 years of effort, and it all came home a year ago in the Great American Race for Columbia, Tennessee's Marlin. Waltrip, the 89 Daytona 500-mile winner. 5 car lengths back.
And boy, is there a scramble back there for that 14th position, Ken. We see them coming off the turn 4 there, and right there it is Robbie Hamilton trying to move up through the pack. Jeremy Mayfield is the man right now in 15th position. Hamilton trying to take that position away.
In 16th, Hamilton right there with him. Jeff Purvis is in there in 17th. Bodine back there in 18th. Bobby Hillen back to 19th. That is the struggle. Leader and continuing to draw away. Battle for third spot here. To the line, car number 25. Schrader has it for the moment. Wallace trying to take it away inside and then move back into it.
Well, Jarrett went by the outside of Wallace coming off of turn 4. A similar move to what he made on Jeff Gordon a few years ago in the Daytona 500, and it worked for him.
In 15th, Jeremy Mayfield, number 43, Hamilton, and up to 16th, Grissom. Mayfield has gone to 14th. Dale Jarrett storming back through the field in the number 28 Ford, up to third spot now.
That's his best finishing position ever in one of these qualifying races. He finished third in 1993 when he won the Daytona 500.
Back to that bubble battle, and look at this struggle.
this is going to be some kind of a finish as far as these drivers are concerned, as who's going to get in the Daytona 500. I'm not sure that any of their speeds will get them in the race.
Hamilton in the 43 has that 15th position. Struggling is Jeremy Mayfield at the present time. Hamilton in the 43.
And that's a 7-time champion Richard Petty's car. On the inside, the car number 98, 3-time NASCAR Winston Cup champion Cale Yarborough owns that car.
Battle continuing further up. Coming to the line as the time begins to run out on this one. White flag coming out this time by. And it still stays Sterling Marlin first. Darrell Waltrip in second. Last lap. Anything left from Darrell Waltrip to close on Sterling Marlin? Looks a little doubtful here,
Yeah,
Ned.
it looks doubtful. I think he's too far back to make any kind of a move right now.
But he's coming.
He'll try, you can rest assured, but I think he has too much real estate between him and the 4 car.
And then there's a lot of real estate. About half a second back to Dale Jarrett third, Rusty Wallace fourth. Closing down the first 125-mile qualifier. Sterling Marlin coming to the line in car number 4. And he's going to take this one home.
And here's the battle for third as Jarrett gets hit. And then a little farther back, this pack of cars that we see coming into the screen right now, that's the battle for the positions in the Daytona 500. And the 43 of Bobby Hamilton, I think he got it.
As did Joe Ruttman, and I think Joe Nemechek, Jeremy Mayfield will check them all for you shortly. But there's your winner, beginning right where he left off last year, defending 500 champion Sterling Marlin.
At many Canada Trust branches, you can do business from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Better yet, with services for every financial need, from youth accounts to retirement products. You can do business from 8 years old to 88 years old. Canada Trust, thinking like a customer.
Are all your investments in order?
Mine are yours?
Hey, you, sitting on the fence.
Hi, Candace.
How come you're not getting the most for the least from Sprint Canada like everyone else? Isn't it lonely up there?
Mom and Dad can't decide, Candace.
Well, let's tell them what they're missing.
You save 50% on every call to the 3 numbers you talk to most each month. 1 in Canada, 1 in the U.S., and 1 overseas. And that's on top of regular time of day discounts.
Uh-oh, that says what's the catchphrase?
No catch. They'll even save on all their other long-distance calls.
You're getting to them, Candace.
It doesn't cost anything to switch to Sprint Canada, and if they're unhappy, it doesn't cost anything to switch back.
That did it. We're off to get the most for the least from Sprint Canada.
I wish I'd said that. Get the most for the least. Call Sprint Canada.
Introducing Ontario Savings Bonds. For you. For everyone. A new way to invest. Competitive rates, RRSP eligible, 100% guaranteed. It's the investment that puts your money back to work right here in Ontario. For everyone. For you. Ontario Savings Bonds. Available everywhere until March 1st.
After 15 years of effort and a couple of second-place finishes, Sterling Marlin wins a 125. Waltrip, Jarrett, Rusty Wallace, Ken Schrader in the top 5. A little further back, Terry Lamonti, Kyle Petty, Michael Waltrip, Dick Trickle, Dave Marcus, and back where the struggle was on, Ward Burton, Joe Nemechek, Bobby Hamilton, the 13th, Joe Ruttman, 14th, Jeremy Mayfield, 15th. Just how hard were they trying to qualify? Well, take a look at this. This was the coming down to the white flag. There you see Bobby Hamilton up on the outside, Nemechek there, slides right in between and keeps on flying to come home in 13th position. What a move by Bobby Hamilton as Joe Ruttman came by him.
Well, that was a great save, Ken. He could have wrecked several cars there, but he made it on back and gets in the Daytona 500.
Let's go to Mike Joy in victory lane.
Here's the brain trust of the winning team. Tony Glover's the crew chief, Runt Pittman, the engine builder. Sterling Marlin drove it home, and it looked easy from here.
Well, I tell you, with a team like this, these boys work so hard, and it makes it look easy. The car drove great. Runt's motors, they couldn't touch it. So I think we'll be in real good shape Sunday.
Runt, why does this car sound differently? It sounds more like a Ferrari than a Chevy when it goes by itself, which it was today.
Well, we might have carried it to Bob's muffler shop there at Abington to get it fixed.
Oh, let's go to David Hobbs.
Well, I'm with Dale Jarrett, who doesn't think that's quite so funny. Dale, you had a bit of a sinking spell in the middle, but came on strong at the end. How did it run?
It got better. We were able to learn some things today, and that was important for us. We'd been pretty bad shape here the first of the week trying to get this car to draft, and I think we hit on something. We made an adjustment there on the pit stop that seemed to help the car, and so we'll fine-tune from there. But Chevrolet's look pretty strong. We'll just have to work.
They certainly did look strong, and at one time you were having a pretty hairy race out there, and a certain color commentator up in the booth was getting just a bit worried about what you'd said at the beginning of the race, that you wanted to race this car, not the backup.
Yeah, but I was in pretty good company around there. So when they went by me at the first, I didn't have any help and just wanted to settle in somewhere and then see what the car was doing. So wasn't too bad. It got a little bit tight at times, but I was in the best position.
A bit tight at times. Well, Ken, back to you with the starting lineup for the second 125-mile qualifying run here at Daytona.
On the front row, 7-time Winston Cup champion Dale Earnhardt, alongside the fleet freshman from Asheville, North Carolina, Robert Presley. In row 2, it's Bobby Labonte and Lake Speed. Row 3 is Phil Parsons and Morgan Shepherd. Row 4, the 23-year-old who won this race 2 years ago, Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin. For row 5, Todd Bodine and a 3-time winner in a 125-miler, Bill Elliott. Row 6 is Ricky Rudd and Ted Musgrave. Row 7, Derek Cope and John Andretti. Row 8's a couple of New Englanders, Ricky Craven and Randy LaJoy. Row 9, Jeff Burton and Phil Barkdahl is back. Row 10, Ben Hess and Chad Little. Row 11, Billy Stanbridge and Jim Sauter. For row 12, Steve Seligman and Mike Chase. Row 13, Loy Allen, last year's Daytona 500 pole sitter, and Jimmy Spencer. Row 14, Greg Sachs and Rick Mavs. Row 15 from Canada, Randy McDonald. From Australia, Terry Byers. Rounding out the field, row 16, Ronnie Sanders, and the oldest driver in the field at 59, James Hilton. And again, the significance of this race, 14 will make it into the Daytona 500, excluding the front row qualifier Earnhardt. Then 8 more will come from previously run time trials. Finally, 4 provisional starters will fill out the 42-car field. There you see Rick Mast, and back in 32nd position, James Hilton, giving it one more shot, one more time. Pace car is in. We're ready for the second 125-mile qualifier. Taking the green, and it's Earnhardt shooting out in front of Robert Presley as they head for turn 1. And shooting down to the inside, coming up to second place, Bobby Labonte in car 18.
Yeah, he followed right on Dale Earnhardt's bumper there on the start, trying to get into that second position. Now Earnhardt's pulling away as Presley pulls back up on the outside of Labonte. That'll let Earnhardt pull away a little bit. They're too deep for about 4 rows there behind Earnhardt. Look at him span out on the backstretch. Everybody trying to draft on by. Labonte caught on down on the inside. Or in the middle, really.
Mark Martin's view, closing in on Morgan Shepherd just in front. Down on the inside, Jeff Gordon.
Bobby Labonte still in the middle coming off of turn 4, and that's not where he wants to be. That is not a good position on this racetrack.
And Sachs in the black car making a move from down low up into the middle of the track, and still in a bundle as they come out. Jeff Gordon's race cam closes in on Mark Martin. Down on the inside, the 19 stays right with him of Phil Parsons.
Bobby Labonte went all the way back to 18th, Ken, before he could get out in line. He has a fast race car. I think he'll come back up through there, but look at Robert Presley. But here's Lake Speed coming up on the outside.
And out in front, the Melling car. It's been a while since that happened.
So the Melling team is one Bill Elliott had so much success with back in the 80s.
Well, there's been some unique sponsors here. Lake Speed, they're calling his car the Spam Can. Right now, it's looking pretty good. Here comes 21, Morgan Shepherd. You can see him fight his way up into turn number 1. Morgan Shepherd put the Woods brothers back into the lead.
Here's Mark Martin coming up. He looked high. Now he's going to size up Lake Speed. 3 Fords out front. A little different from what we saw in the first race. There were all Chevrolets up there, but here the Fords are taking over in this race.
They got trouble. Smoke pouring off one car going down the back straightaway into turn 3.
It's Rick Mast in car number 1.
Just not having any luck.
Boy, he has had a tough time since he came to Daytona.
Caution out as they come back. Racing back to the line, and Morgan Shepherd will be there. It'll be Lake Speed in second. Bit of a surprise. Early in the going, first caution is out. Rick Mast have to rely on his time to try to make the 500.
Mystic Music presents Cool Rock. The songs are hot, but the rock is cool. Cool Rock contains 35 chart toppers for only $19.95 for cassettes or $24.95 for CDs. Here's how to order.
Have your credit card ready and call toll-free 1-800-432-9555 or send $19.95 for 2 cassettes or $24.95 for 2 CDs, plus $4.50 shipping and handling to Cool Rock, P.O. Box 64589-TV, Unionville, Ontario.
As the thermometer drops, dangerous crystals can form in your car's engine, threatening to shorten its life. That's why today's Quaker State has engineered intelligent oil. Oil that senses the changing threats in your engine and adapts its own molecular structure for continuous protection. Whenever the driving conditions change, so does Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
صاحبي انا مقلق مرتني الاداره نجع جميع الكمبيوترات اتصلوا ببعضياتهم انا ما نصنعش الصواريخ.
واش محكتي مع ابيم في الموضوع؟
لا لا
شوف راه يمكن لهم يجعلوا الكمبيوتر ديالك يتصل بالكمبيوتر ديالهم ويتصل باي كمبيوتر.
وعندك نمره التليفون ديالهم؟
معلوم غادي يصيفط لك مكالمه الكترونيه.
We changed the way you saw the world. Now we've made a world of changes. Introducing the new Ford Explorer. The only leading sport utility with standard dual airbags. The only one with Control Track, which provides 4-wheel drive traction automatically. Plus an engine that lets you go 160,000 kilometers before your first scheduled tune-up. The new Ford Explorer. Far and away the best the world has to offer.
Green, second Gatorade 125. Jeff Gordon chasing Mark Martin.
Well, he might be content to ride there for a little bit. He's certainly right on his bumper, but they pulled away, opened up a little bit of distance, so he might just be content to do that. As it looks like James Hilton is going to call it a day, Ken, and he's going into the garage, so James Hilton will not be in the Daytona 500.
James Hilton finished third here back in 1967, 59 years young. Giving another try today and has retired the car back to the garage area. Bumble battle. How about this? See Ricky Craven coming right in there, fighting with Ricky Rudd. Battle for 15th. They swapped it around. In 15th now is the Concord, New Hampshire driver, Ricky Craven, Ricky Rudd just outside.
Phil Parsons in the car number 19 is going back, but Phil has a good enough speed to get him in the Daytona 500, even if he doesn't finish in the top 15 here.
Just in front of them, Chad Little, looking very good in that car, 97. for the moment. Craven in car 41 is 15th for the lead. Here's Martin being chased by the two-time winner last year in Winston Cup Racing, Pittsburgh, Indiana's Jeff Gordon.
And now Dale Earnhardt and Bill Elliott are beginning to close in a little bit on those front two. They got behind a little bit there as they were coming through some traffic, but they've lined up together now, and it looks like they might be closing in just a bit.
Ford and Chevy up in front, then Chevy and Ford in third and fourth. Then the 21 of Morgan Shepherd rides in fifth. John Andretti is doing a fine job. He's picked himself up. Right seventh.
There's someone else who's done a good job. We saw him right at the right of the screen there is Bobby Labonte in the car number 18. He had dropped all the way back to 13th position when he got shuffled around there at the start of the race, but he has moved up. There he is in the car, Joe Gibbs, car number 18. Ted Musgrave in car number 16, Todd Bodine, 75. And look at Labonte. Boy, he got a run there. Derek Cope right behind him in the car number 12. Going strong into turn 3.
Cope in the Bobby Allison number 12, assisting Bobby Labonte as he goes beneath Todd Bodine.
I understand that Earnhardt says his car is good in the corners, which is no surprise. It usually is, but says he's not getting any help on the straightaways because Bill Elliott's not close enough to him to do a lot of drafting. But right here is some good drafting going on. Derek Cope in car number 12 is doing a great job staying right on the back bumper of Bobby Labonte. And here's trouble on the front straightaway.
Going into turn number 1. Bad trouble. Jimmy Spencer's torn up in that one.
Loy Allen up there in car number 27.
And Billy Stanbridge in the 47. See tire marks down coming off the 18-degree tri-oval. The 27 of Loy Allen torn up in the nose. His speed should be strong enough to get him into the 500, but for Billy Standridge, the second caution of the race, very costly. He may not make it. And Jimmy Spencer in big trouble, too, unless they can get refired and get out here. But looks terminal for both Spencer and Standridge at this point.
Don't know what started. They got together. There's the white car of Billy Standridge, the number 47. Here's Spencer, the yellow car with pieces flying off of it, and the bright orange-looking car of Loy Allen, car number 27. He gets into it as well.
And so this second twin 125-mile Gatorade qualifying race has claimed at least 2 more victims. Over 20 drivers will not have starting positions in the 36th annual Daytona 500, and one of those will be Jimmy Spencer.
He saw the face of death and lived to tell.
You're the only witness to a murder.
Now, he is caught between the fury of the ninja.
Bring me his head.
And the wrath of the samurai.
It's between him and me.
Christopher Lambert, John Lone, Joan Chen, The Hunted. Starts Friday, February 24th at theaters everywhere.
Its multi-valve V6 will appeal to the beast in you. While its large trunk should please the civilized side, its double wishbone suspension, the beast. Its split fold-down rear seat, the civilized side. Great stereo, total beast. Dual airbags, completely civilized. The new Dodge Avenger is very civilized. Just don't drive it when the moon is full.
From headlights to transmission fluid to tires, inside, outside, top to bottom, Canadian Tire has you covered. Because we have the experience that comes from servicing over 10,000 cars every day and more than 65,000 auto parts and products, which means we help maintain more cars than anyone. So whatever you need, come to the one place with everything, Canadian Tire. There's a lot more for your car for a lot less.
You have high hopes for your future, but you have obstacles to overcome. You need a plan, because when you have a plan, you can work with what you have to build for the future you want, knowing it is possible. Call for your book of possibilities from Bank of Montreal, because with a plan, you can succeed.
one does well in these qualifying races does not necessarily mean a great day in the 500. Only 4 drivers have come through the 125s and 1 in the Great American Race. Tomorrow, 12 noon Eastern, live on CBS, the Daytona 500. From second place, Jeff Gordon. Looking at third place, Mark Martin off his rear bumper. And from Mark Martin looking up to Jeff Gordon, Earnhardt continuing to lead at this point in the race. Mark Martin at work.
He's a little fellow, but he's a strong fellow. He works out every day, at least 5 days a week.
And that's just not aerobics. That's hard stuff.
Oh, yes, yes. He's very, very strong.
And you need that these days.
Yes. A lot of physical strength needed in driving a race car. As we look at the running order after the halfway mark, these front 6 cars pulled away a little bit from the 7th place car.
See Craven back there in 15th, just in front of him, Ricky Rudd. So they would be in the show at the present time. But here are the guys that are making the headlines. Earnhardt and Gordon, first and second, Martin in third, Bill Elliott in fourth. And Bill Elliott is a very patient man. His father, George Elliott, he's a very patient man.
Yes.
Bill learned well.
Here's Robert Presley, who started on the outside pole in the car number 33, trying to pull up on the inside of Morgan Shepherd. That's Derek Koch in car number 12, the Bobby Allison car.
All of this for 9th position. Chad Little's number 97 getting into it now. Boy, Chad had bad trouble for a long time this week. 2 or 3 days, nothing worked well for him. Now look at the 33, Presley dropping back.
Yeah, he's going to have to get off that inside, Ken. That's not the best way to go here right now. The upper groove is the one that's working better right now, and he has no drafting help down there. He's just going to continue to slide back. But his speed will get him in the Daytona 500. He doesn't have to worry about a starting spot. He'll just be starting pretty far back.
Randy LaJoie comes up to 15th in the number 22 car, Craven to 14th, Chad Little to 13th, and Ricky Rudd up to 12th. Here are the leaders. Earnhardt and Gordon pacing themselves. 28 of 50 laps complete. No sense throwing any fastballs right here. You just want to stay in it and be consistent for a while. Look at Bobby Labonte going up on the outside.
Good move on the outside of Todd Bodine. Let's see if he can pull it off as he comes off of turn 4. Yep, he sure does. Let's go to the pits and Mike Joy.
Ray Avernham's driver, Jeff Gordon, hates to follow, and he's behind a guy, Dale Earnhardt, who hates to do anything but lead. Is he biding his time, or does he have anything for Earnhardt, right?
Well, we're doing the best we can. You know, I'll be glad when Jeff graduates, because Earnhardt takes him to school quite a bit. We're doing about all we can do right now. We're just playing around trying to get in shape for Sunday.
Okay. And trailing Earnhardt, they picked up a little bit of a push. Here's David Hobbs.
Well, I'm with Tony Gibson, Bill Elliott's crew chief, and Bill's having a tremendously strong run there just behind Mark Martin. How do you think the Fords are going to finally face this showdown?
Well, I think maybe if we stay together, we might be able to do something. You know, that 3 car is awful strong. It's going to be tough, but right now we're trying to stay in line and break away from that back pack. That way, when it comes down to the end of the race, it'll just be a few cars to contend with.
You didn't make any stops on that last yellow and change tires or gas up. You're all right?
Yeah. If we get another caution, you know, if the leaders come in, we'll definitely come in and get 4 tires. This racetrack, it's getting older, and it's hard to get a hold of it. So tires are really gumming up and getting slick. So it's going to be critical for tires.
Okay, thanks very much, Tony.
Flat tire on Robert Presley's number 33 on pit road.
Smart move in bringing it in, Ken. In the meantime, look up front here as Jeff Gordon making a move, and Bobby Labonte has passed every 3 cars on the outside. He's riding the high line once again, and he'll come up behind Earnhardt. Let's see if Gordon don't dip up there. Labonte might help Earnhardt keep the lead, and Earnhardt does keep the lead.
Bobby Labonte, the hot commodity right now. Last couple of laps, he has pulled himself into the 3rd position, and he took the high side. Oh, we've got trouble going down into turn number 1. 1 car in the wall, bouncing. Started to come up off the ground, got it back, and plows down to a stop, and that is Chad Little. Chad Little's car. Did a complete spin, and he was doing so well. He had himself up in the qualifying spot.
He was
Chad Little
He was in 11th position, Ken, so he was in good shape as far as making the Daytona 500, but unfortunately, he'll have to rely on his speed now. He has no owner's points. Let's take a look at what happened. This yellow car, number 97, Chad Little, going along nicely right in front of Ricky Rudd. We'll move it forward now, and all at once we see the back end start to come out from under the car, and we'll stop it right there. And look, the tread of the tire has come off completely of his car. And of course, it sends him into a spin, but that's the first time that I remember seeing the tread come off of a tire. And of course, he spins around, Rudd goes to the inside, the other cars get by, Little continues to spin, stays up next to the outside wall. Fortunately, no one else gets involved.
Mark Rippon's number 97, driven by Spokane, Washington's Chad Little, will not qualify for this year's Daytona 500.
Mon disque dur est plein.
Ah.
Il faut que j'archive 500 MB ou je suis fichu.
Oh, ça, c'est embêtant. J'ai entendu dire qu'il travaillait sur un nouveau procédé laser pour stocker de l'information.
Le laser? Qui fait ça?
Ah, IBM. Oui, IBM. Ils disent même qu'on pourra stocker 10 fois plus de données.
C'est incroyable.
From mufflers to brakes to tune-ups, under your car or under your hood, Canadian Tire has you covered because we have licensed technicians specially trained to perform each job, all with the experience that comes from servicing over 10,000 cars every day. And we install only quality parts backed by a nationwide guarantee. So when your car needs service, come to the place with the parts, the warranties, and the specialists you can trust to get the job done right. Canadian Tire. There's a lot more for your car for a lot less.
Life is what happens while you're waiting for the lights to change. The new Talon TSI Turbo with all-wheel drive. It smokes signals.
He saw the face of death and lived to tell.
You're the only witness to a murder.
Now, he is caught between the fury of the ninja.
Bring me his head.
And the wrath of the samurai.
It's between him and me.
Christopher Lambert, John Lone, Joan Chen, The Hunted. Starts Friday, February 24th at theaters everywhere.
The Bud 1 airship and its eye in the sky camera, proud to provide these pictures from more than 1,000 feet above the Daytona Speedway. We're coming back to a green flag condition on this restart. A lot of cars that did not pit up in front. Jim Sauter, Phil Barkdahl is back and running in second here, followed by Ronnie Sanders, John Andretti, and Bobby Labonte. Heavy hitters that have been rambling up through the field. Bobby Labonte won for sure. Then Dale Earnhardt, Mark Martin, Musgrave, Elliott, and Rudd rounding out the top 10.
Quite a story with Phil Barkdahl, coming off of a bout with cancer and out here now attempting to qualify for the Daytona 500.
Jeff Gordon got caught in the pits, comes out of the top 10 as they get ready on a restart with Todd Bodine.
Yeah, Jeff had to back up a little bit. He made the wrong angle into his pits and had to back up before he could get out of them, and several people beat him.
David Hobbs.
Well, John Andretti is lying fourth on the track at the moment, but on his pit stop, he unfortunately overshot his pit, so his car hasn't, in fact, been serviced. So he did not change tires and did not put gas on board. So we'll have to see how those older tires on John's car do in this last 15-lap dash.
3 wide into 3, and still there.
Bobby Labonte runs right up in there between them.
Thank goodness that's Jim Sauter on the outside in 72. Good, steady racing.
Good, smart racer.
Earnhardt back in front, Martin into second. Here comes Musgrave and Elliott, 3 and 4. Morgan Shepherd back to fifth. Didn't take long for them to sort out the Sauter-Sanders combination up in front.
But Bobby Labonte got caught up once again, and he's just heading back backwards again. He just tried that high line that's been working so well for him, but the cars they were passing were up there, and he got boxed in. He's back to about 10th place now.
36 complete. Earnhardt's in front. Can he win 6 125-mile qualifiers in a row? We're going to find out very shortly, folks. Here he is with Mark Martin. Attached right to the rear bumper, Ted Musgrave. Franklin, Wisconsin racer right there with him. Third, Elliott looking very stout in that 4th position. Then you see Morgan Shepherd, and moving back into this thing, Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, he came back up through there pretty good, and he made some good moves on the first lap or so after this green flag was reflown, and there he goes up on the outside of Morgan Shepherd, making still another good move.
No doubt about it. This 23-year-old really has the sense where to put it. Behind Elliott in car number 94. Sweeps up to the outside.
Bill Elliott. Tell you someone who benefited from this caution was Ted Musgrave. He's there in 3rd position now. He was sitting back there in 7th and had lost the draft of the front 6, but he's right there with them now as Gordon and Elliott run side by side.
They fight for 4th.
Yeah, yep. Gordon couldn't quite clear Elliott off turn 4. He might be able to get him off turn 2. Yep.
Todd Bodine's right in that, too. 75 car.
Well, Elliott, again, like we've seen before, caught down on the inside. Nobody drafting him. Today, the place to be is up on the outside.
Elliott getting pinned on the inside. Oh, and he gets a little nudge there. Touch and go from Craven in the 41.
There's 2 Jack Roush cars running 2nd and 3rd as we watch this battle between Bill Elliott and Ricky Craven, Bobby Labonte.
Coming back to the stripe. It's Earnhardt, Martin, Musgrave, Gordon, Bodine up there in front, and Craven is making his move. Ricky Craven up there fighting among the leaders for 6th spot, falls back 1. Look at Ricky Rudd coming on here with John Andretti as they move up on Morgan Shepherd in the 21. Still Earnhardt in front, watching that rest of the field come on by. Craven on the outside of Labonte. That's for 7th. In 9th, John Andretti, and he has it hung out sideways in 3 and 4. Wild racing in this one. Back in 15th, currently is Phil Parsons. Burton is just in front of him.
That's Jeff Burton. Ward Burton earned a position in the first 125-mile qualifier, the brother.
Here's Mike Joy.
Richard Childress, car owner for Dale Earnhardt. Is he working hard or having fun out there?
Right now, the car's working real good. You know, we got the car pretty tight where it's real comfortable, and, you know, we're a little slower than what we want to be, but I think that's what you're going to have Sunday. We're just trying a Sunday setup.
Slower than you were, but you're a little faster than everybody else.
Well, right now, it's pretty good. Yeah.
A lot of laughing going on here so far.
So far, says Richard Childress. Mark Martin trying to take the laugh out of this one for the man who's won it 5 straight years, 7 in all in the 125s. Earnhardt up in front.
The 2 Roush cars have been split now by Jeff Gordon, so they couldn't work together so good in trying to team up on Earnhardt. Right now, Jeff Gordon looks like he's going to take the measure of Martin down on the inside.
And look at Todd Bodine come on, Ned, on the outside again in that 75 car. There he is, right up there beside Musgrave.
And here's trouble. Bill Barkdahl in car number 73.
Turn 2.
And another car gets involved. They simply couldn't see where they were going. That's Barkdahl there in car number 73. Able to pull away, but I'm afraid too much damage is done.
I think the 72 car, Jimmy Sauter may have, there it is, Sauter's car. Right front, torn up on car number 72 for Utica, Wisconsin's Jim Sauter. Pulls it off and brings it to a halt. 41 of 50 laps complete. It's going to be a shootout to decide the second 125.
صاحبي انا مخلق مرتني الاداره نرجع جميع الكمبيوترات اتصلوا ببعضياتهم انا ما نصنعش الصواريخ
مش محتي مع أبيهم في الموضوع؟
لا لا.
شوف، راه يمكن لهم يجعلوا الكمبيوتر ديالك يتصل بالكمبيوتر ديالهم ويتصل بأي كمبيوتر.
وعندك نمرة التليفون ديالهم؟
معلوم. غادي نصيفط لك مكالمة إلكترونية.
The all-new Mazda Protege LX has more room than any car in its class. But what class is it? After all, it has more room than the Honda Civic, more room than a Nissan Altima, even more than a 5 Series BMW. So what class would you guess the new Protege is in? Well, here's a hint. The all-new Mazda Protege LX. There's a surprise in every package.
As the thermometer drops, dangerous crystals can form in your car's engine, threatening to shorten its life. That's why today's Quaker State has engineered intelligent oil. Oil that senses the changing threats in your engine and adapts its own molecular structure for continuous protection. Whenever the driving conditions change, so does Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
What happens when a car offers the comfort of a luxury car and the performance of a sports car? What happens when the same car can outmaneuver expensive European sedans while getting the gas mileage of a 4-cylinder compact? This is what happens. Presenting Motor Trend's Import Car of the Year, the Maxima from Nissan.
He saw the face of death and lived to tell.
It's a situation that many are trying.
Phil Barkdahl had his problems, and it's knocked out Phil Parsons. Let's take a look at what happened here. Coming out of turn number 2. Here you see Parsons, and just in front of him, Barkdahl, and away he went.
Yeah, the back end just got out from under him, Ken, as he came off of turn 2, and the smoke is just absolutely killing Phil Parsons there, but Phil stays right in line with him, still in no trouble whatsoever. He's coming up on him, makes a good move down to the inside, but here comes Greg Sachs, and he rams Parsons in the rear, and that's what started Parsons' problems. He got through the wreck. Now, Barkdahl comes down off the wall. Here's one car going by down the inside. That's Lake Speed, and then the car number 72 of Jim Sauter will come by and hit the outside wall. You saw the smoke there as he just hit that outside wall and did the damage to his car.
When they come around, 45 laps complete. Here are the standings at lap 44, and they haven't changed. Earnhardt, Gordon, Musgrave, Martin, Bodine up in front for a shootout. There will be 4 laps to go when they hit the line this time. Seven-time Winston Cup champion brings them down to the line, and we're ready to go for it here in the second 125. Final moments of this one. Earnhardt and Gordon play clean. Musgrave and Martin right there. Teammates in 3rd and 4th spot. Let's see if they'll lock up in a draft and try to put those 2 Fords around the Chevys. Chevy running 1st and 2nd. Earnhardt and Gordon. Tom Bodine coming to the inside now.
Yeah, he's going to want a piece of that action as well. He's an aggressive race driver. Relatively new in Winston Cup racing. Last year was his first full year. Bill Elliott right behind him. And here's Bobby Labonte riding. Now, how line again? There's trouble.
1, 2, they're just trying to collect them. They get them back.
You can't believe it. John Andretti was up on the wall, and it gets off and keeps going.
And there is no caution out.
That could have been a big wreck.
And look at the back end of Andretti's car. He's down to the inside in the Kranifus Haas car. Unbelievable. To see that one again, Ned. That
was a heart stopper. Still jockey up front. Jeff Gordon looking for a way to go around. Dale Earnhardt, 6 cars now pulled away. That little skirmish up off turn 4 the last time around has separated his first 6 cars from everybody else.
Earnhardt, Gordon, Musgrave, Martin, Todd Bodine, Bill Elliott. 6 cars running for the lead. Laps running out. Now's the time. Back in the 15th position is car number 40, Greg Sachs. And he's fighting with Morgan Shepherd trying to get a spot there. This is the story right now. Move on the outside by Martin and Musgrave. Countered by Earnhardt.
Earnhardt chipping her low. That's his style here at Daytona, because he sort of drives where he thinks the car needs to go. Here's Bill Elliott trying to make a move up on the outside of Musgrave.
And Todd Bodine goes into 4th. Todd Bodine up to 4th spot at number 75. Just a couple to go now. Randy LaJoy in the car number 22. Looks like he's into the field.
Yeah, he just made a pass on Jeff Burton, who Burton was running in the 13th position, so that should, if he can hold on to that, he'll be up there in good shape.
For the lead. Coming down, white flag and 1 lap to go. Earnhardt first. Gordon is second. Cross the line. Bubble car right now is the 21 car of Morgan Shepherd. Burton up to 14th. Just behind this number 8 is Shepherd, who is on the bubble. There's the 21 car. It's found its way. Just behind him is Greg Sachs trying to get in. Leaders in the back straightaway. And Earnhardt puts his foot down. He pulls out a couple of car length advantage. Now Martin locks up with Jeff Gordon and comes back up on number 3 Earnhardt.
But Earnhardt will make that car awfully wide coming off the turn 4. I don't think they'll be able to do anything with him. Gordon's going to try it on the outside, but he'll come up short.
Earnhardt to the inside, Gordon to the outside. It's Earnhardt 6th straight in the 125-mile qualifier. Dale Earnhardt's done it again. Won the Clash. Won the 125s. But can he win the Great American Race?
We'll find out Sunday afternoon right here on CBS.
And so Dale Earnhardt collects his 25th career win here at Daytona in this 125-mile qualifier with Gordon, Martin, Todd Bodine, and Bill Elliott rounding out the top 5. Further back, Musgrave, Ricky Craven, the rookie, 7th, Lake Speed, 8th, Ricky Rudd, 9th, and Bobby Labonte, 10th. And finishing up the qualifying for the 500, Derek Cope was 11th, Randy LaJoy, 12th, Ben Hess, 13th, Jeff Burton, 14th, and Morgan Shepherd, 15th. Ned, let's look again at that finish between Earnhardt and Gordon.
Well, Earnhardt dipped down to the inside. Gordon was trying to make a move on the outside, but he simply did not have enough speed, and Earnhardt comes on to victory.
His 6th in a row, his 8th in the 125s. Let's go to Mike Joy, standing by with our winner, Dale Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt and his most trusted advisor here, Taylor Nicole. 6 125-mile races in a row. You kind of put him to sleep today.
Well, we really appreciate everything Gatorade does for the NASCAR Winston Cup racing, and Chevrolet done a great job with this Monte Carlo. She just keeps on winning, and Richard and Terry over and Spinnacle and all the guys at the shop did so much hard work on this car. The paint and body guys, everybody, they just worked hard and got us down here, and you know, it just from the start of this Monte Carlo, the first time Neil Bonnet tested it to now, I think this is going to be a good race car. It's proven itself out well.
It was perfect for qualifying Saturday, and it was really strong today. But tell me, what differentiates Thursdays from Sundays around here?
Well, Thursdays is a little more race than just going for it type thing like the Busch Clash or qualifying, but this is more like the 500. I feel like we can race like we were all day long. We were comfortable. We got the car on balance, and we worked hard to do that. We weren't really comfortable right up to yesterday. We even changed engines, put the Busch Clash motor in this car, and that ran good all day. So it's just a combination of things you got to keep working on, Mike, and then you come down to the 500, you got a lot of work to do. We got 2 more days. We got to tune another engine and get this car ready for the 500 and do this 500 miles. We'll be happy.
Well, thanks, Mike. If they gave points in these races for saves, John Andretti would be declared the winner hands down in this car 37. Take a look at turn 4 in all of this traffic. What happened to Indianapolis, Indiana's Andretti?
Okay, here's Andretti in the white car on the outside. Here's Ricky Craven coming up on the inside. Now we'll move it forward a little bit, and we'll see Craven come up. We'll stop it right there, and that's where Craven gets into Andretti. Now we'll move it on, and we'll see what happens as a result of the contact they made. Andretti's knocked out to the wall, gets up on the wall, comes back down. Morgan Shepherd back behind him. He comes back up into the wall again, and Bobby Labonte in the green car. Both of them do a great job of getting slowed down, staying off of Andretti, but everybody else gets by on the inside. That could have been a nasty wreck.
A miraculous double save by John Andretti in the Gatorade 125s. Let's go down to David Hobbs.
Along with John Andretti driving the 37 car, you had one of the hairiest moments that Ken Squire's ever seen coming off turn 4. Tell us about it.
Well, it was a little unfortunate. We were coming to the end of the race, and the guy got in the backside of me really hard and sent me into the wall, and I tried staying with it, and I got into it even harder, I think, then, and cut the right front tire and a couple other things, and we were out of the race. Real unfortunate for Kmart and Little Caesars, but it looks like we're in the 500, so that's the important thing. We just don't have the car we want, really, right now.
Well, he's starting 38th on Sunday. Good luck, John Andretti, and back to you, Ken.
And when we come back, the entire starting grid for the 1995 Daytona 500.
Mon disque dur est plein. Il faut que j'archive 500 MB ou je suis fichu.
Oh, ça, c'est embêtant. J'ai entendu dire qu'il travaillait sur un nouveau procédé laser pour stocker de l'information.
Le laser? Qui fait ça?
IBM. Oui, IBM. Ils disent même qu'on pourra stocker 10 fois plus de données.
C'est incroyable.
We changed the way you saw the world. Now we've made a world of changes. Introducing the new Ford Explorer. The only leading sport utility with standard dual airbags. The only one with Control Track, which provides four-wheel drive traction automatically. Plus an engine that lets you go 160,000 kilometers before your first scheduled tune-up. The new Ford Explorer. Far and away the best the world has to offer.
He saw the face of death and lived to tell.
You're the only witness to a murder.
Now, he is caught between the fury of the ninja.
Bring me his head.
And the wrath of the samurai.
It's between him and me.
Christopher Lambert, John Lone, Joan Chen, The Hunted. Starts Friday, February 24th at theaters everywhere.
When you finally decide and you take that first step toward your goal, you leave behind the doubts and uncertainties that made you think you couldn't do it. And you feel the confidence of knowing that what you want is possible. For your book of possibilities and RRSP planning guide, call 1-800-463-3434 from Bank of Montreal.
All is in readiness for the 37th annual Daytona 500. Everything seems to be working out for a great race, 42 strong. And we have something a little different here. Talk about an eye in the sky. There's the new CBS Flying Cam. We hope to bring you a new angle on pit road activity and some other highlights from the race like you've never seen it before. Well, when you get down to the beginning of the 500, it's all over. All that talk, all these days, weeks, months of preparation come down to, gentlemen, start your engines, and we're ready to go racing. And that's what 42 drivers are really set to get on with tomorrow. The twin 125s showed us some things, but we saw something today in the 300-mile Grand National race. This Chad Little car, number 23, came from 42nd starting position to win it. And to Mike Joy, who's going to be joining us. Mike, Can anybody do that in the 500?
I don't think so, Ken. The draft here is so crucial, and Chad was aided by a couple of crashes, including a horrendous one right on the last lap that enabled him to go to victory lane. I don't think so. I think one thing we did see in the 125s, however, was Sterling Marlin with that strange-sounding, very fast Chevrolet able to pull away from the field. He only lost the pack, or only the pack got back to him because he made a miscue on lap car Dale McCowart. And Dale Earnhardt could move away from the pack and change lanes at will. I didn't see anybody in the Thursday races otherwise that was able to do that. And look for those two cars to be in the front.
Thanks, Mike. To Ned Jarrett, the 125s, an overview from you.
Well, certainly it was a learning experience for many because they didn't know what was going to happen as far as the 100 pounds less weight they're carrying in these cars this year, and it makes a different chassis setup on the car. So they learned from that, and I think that we'll see some cars stronger on Sunday than we saw in the 125-mile qualifying races. But still, they're thrashing it out right here in the last practice session here this afternoon, trying to get the car dialed in just right. It becomes a handling situation now. Once the 125-mile in qualifying is over with, then they get the car set up to where they'll handle on a hot, slick racetrack.
Well, now we're down to the serious stuff, the picks. And as we make our picks, you can take a look at where the entire starting field is coming from for tomorrow's race. Mike, who's going to win the 500?
I want to watch Bobby Labonte and Todd Bodine, two young drivers with a lot of promise. If this race goes green the last 60 laps, Darrell Waltrip wins it again on fuel mileage. Sterling Marlin has the fastest car here, but I think Dale Earnhardt has the best car here. I'll tell you why tomorrow as this race unfolds, but I think Earnhardt's poised to finally win this race in his 17th attempt.
Is there any reason to even ask Jarrett who he thinks is going to win?
Well, you know a guy named Dale is going to win this race. Of course, there are two Dales starting on the front row, and if neither of them come through, then I think Sterling will have another Sterling performance in the Daytona 500 like he did last year. Long shot, Mike Joy mentioned him. Bobby Labonte looks awfully good in the car that Dale Jarrett won with in 1993.
Now, the folks down on pit road have a say in this as well, so let's join David Hobbs and Dick Berggren.
Well, Dick, unfortunately, Mr. Jarrett is sitting on the fence, and he said Dale's going to win. We know who he really wants to win. And, of course, Mike Joy thinks that Dale Earnhardt's going to win. We haven't heard from Ken yet. Who do you think's going to win after you've traipsed up and down this pit for about 40 miles tomorrow?
Well, I think tomorrow is going to be Dale Earnhardt's day, David. You know, you think about all the bad things that have happened to him in the Daytona 500 in the past. With victory in sight, he's run out of gas. He's been spun out. He's had a flat tire. It's all over with now. All the bad stuff is gone. It's Earnhardt's day tomorrow.
Well, I have to say that today itself is the 39th wedding anniversary of the pole sitters' wedding anniversary. But I don't think that's going to be a great gift for them tomorrow from their son, Dale Jarrett. I, too, think that Dale Earnhardt, just going by the law of averages alone, has got to win this race. And even if we're standing here for the next 20 years saying who's going to win this race, I'm going to pick Dale Earnhardt till he wins it. Ken?
Well, there's that old song, there's 50 ways to leave your lover, and he has found almost that many ways to leave the 500 without a victory. We'll see what happens. He's already won 26 races on this track. My pick? Oh, I'm going to go really out there. I think that Terry Labonte's had a very solid week, and he's going to be there at the finish. I know that's not what everybody else is saying, but I really like the looks of that car number 5. For Ned Jarrett, and for Mike Joy, and for David Hobbs, Dick Berggren, Ken Squire saying so long from Daytona Beach, where Sterling Marlin and Dale Earnhardt have won the Gatorade Twin 125s. Be sure to join CBS Sports tomorrow at noon Eastern Time for live flag-to-flag coverage of the Daytona 500. Coming up next, it's NCAA basketball. There's a Big East showdown. 15th ranked Villanova takes on top-ranked Connecticut. The 1995 Daytona Twin 125s been a presentation of CBS Sports.
Has been a special presentation of CTV Sports.